All right. Make sure I got the right scene here. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the best Damn Soulbound Show. This one's called The Chain. So last week on Vince's stream, Big Winter, Lanissa, Feargrim, and Skig kind of discovered after doing a minor quest, kind of discovered a cult infestation, or the beginnings of a cult. I was quite proud that y'all, you let them prove themselves to be a cult first. um,
I mean, did we?
yeah, we eased into it. They were preaching a message of sort of a combination of sort of a Unitarian sort of view of the gods, that they were once fractured, but hey, when they worked together there was a time of myth, so a little bit of a Unitarian sort of thing, whilst also revering the self, and you got to rely on yourself, and um
They were preaching heresy. Got it.
um
No.
so yeah, hey, Chat Gang, you're all out in full force. Thanks for joining us tonight. I see we already got a couple subs tonight. Twitch Prime from Stone Monk, thank you so much, dude. 32 months of subbing from Haywo. He's got the list with 72, with 7.
I mean, I just leave it on. It's the ultimate form of support.
All right, it's true.
I clicked the button 32 months ago, and it's still giving me goodwill.
The dude.
So easy.
Yeah.
So easy, anyone could do it in chat right now. For free. They have Twitch Prime?
Thanks for that, Joe. So Tristan, the Doom did not actually escalate. Whilst the cult was very, they didn't really do anything evil. There was just this sort of benign, almost calm sort of oddness about them. One thing that was the most peculiar aspect, of course, being, apart from the fact that when they attacked the sort of main sort of cult leader in this little recruitment, the acolytes around him exploding rather than him. Apart from that really weird thing, there was another weird thing, which was this syringe of this amethyst ichor that appeared quite viscous whilst inside the syringe, but went pure effervescent when it was exposed to the air. This amethyst ichor, I believe they called the Numus Rift, or Numus Rift.
The Rift Animus?
Rift Animus, that's what it was.
I have notes.
Look at you.
Also, they didn't have too many signs of foul play, but our party, as you can tell so far, is one of vast intellects, and so we were able to figure it out.
Big brains here.
Big brains, big winters. We got 200 IQ characters.
So they actually they sort of ended up interrogating them, because around the time the syringe came out, it was just oh, okay, that's enough. They interrogated a pair of them. One of them they actually ended up handing into the bounty office. The other one they sort of actually Skig, in a supreme force of sort of
we saved his soul.
Yeah, right. So Skig saved his soul, but
he
then you
unburdened himself, as the word does.
Right. And in the process, I gotta move this pane over here. In the process, Skig managed to get some instructions on where there might be more of this stuff, right? And so it was implied heavily that they would be going on a sea voyage when we kind of last left off the adventure. And luckily, last adventure, by utter happenstance, Feargrim kind of made a contact with Alleged Captain Avindr Raal.
Weird.
Right. Bonding of all things over dwarven ales, in particular a Bugman's 3X. So that's where we kind of left off. We're gonna kick it in. Feargrim specifically. The party is kind of woke the next morning from your your heroes. Someone offered you lodgings. Anvilgard's really rough and a lot rougher place than other places. It's got this like permanent mist rolling through the streets. Alchemists have to constantly like go out and weed eat, or like the whole city will be overtaken by this lush vegetation that never stops growing. So it's a little bit rougher than some of the other places, even by Mortal Realm standards. But you still like have like patrons of like Sigmar and stuff like that. So you manage to get some lodgings. You have no problem like rustling up some lodgings. I believe the was her name Mara? Probably just puts you up for the night, no problem. At the what was it? The Wild Steed.
Mara Sterngard,
yeah. Mara Sterngard puts you up for the night at the Brazen Steed. No charge. You're clearly doing Sigmar's work. She even manages to slip a couple bottles of Bugman's 5X like into your rooms for the like when your rooms are made up type thing. Unfortunately, only one of you gets like a room by yourself. I don't think you need to deduce who. Clearly, Skig. The rest of you.
Yeah, Skig. He's the holiest among us. So
we just like cut to Lanissa, Feargrim, and Big Winter all like crammed into like one room.
I'm just like on the floor on my back, like with my boots still on.
Definitely not. Like, I would absolutely insist that Lanissa have her own room.
Yep.
And because I would never feel comfortable in a room by myself at night. Like, Skig would not be able to sleep alone. So,
that's true.
Like, he's never done such a thing. That's incomprehensible to him to be not around other people. So he would absolutely like offer Lanissa her own room since she's a lady. He recognizes that. And would probably want some kind of privacy.
Likely the most paranoid of us, outside of you.
I don't know, but I do know that Skig is gonna like sleep on top of or curled up next to Everwinter for sure because he's very warm.
Big Winter,
large.
Big Winter.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Big Winter. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's like having your own
Lanissa will
furnace.
enjoy her own room. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So y'all kind of rise, just before, which would be normal. Whatever would be normal for your character, but I'd imagine somewhere just before dawn. Everyone except Feargrim, that is. You've kind of all gathered your things, given him some privacy. Like you go down, you manage to get like a nice breakfast of some like steel cut oats with some fresh peaches from one of the, like the some fresh sort of like weird like fire peach. I don't know, like it's weird. It's like somewhere between a papaya and a peach. Some breakfast. You figure that Feargrim is at first just kind of sleeping off the extra thing of Bugman's that he managed to find. But it becomes apparent that, you've adventured together for a while. This is out of character. You all head back up to Feargrim's room, and you see him sort of thrashing on the bed. You notice almost immediately, especially Skig, who's got some acute senses, this sort of like the tiniest bead of blood sort of around the hip or where his pocket or satchel would have been. And,
okay.
And rushing over, quickly taking it in, you kind of see like a sliver of gold just underneath his flesh. In the meantime, whilst Feargrim, you find yourself in, like you might expect, sort of like a dark, almost formless jungle that your mind is sort of populated with, like just the surroundings you're used to. But anytime your mind tries to fill in form, it sort of melts away into just shadows and rough effigies of what might be a jungle. But what is clear to you is you see a person sort of, see six figures kind of standing off in the distance. Not so much moving as clipping in and out of this reality. The largest among them stands a full 2 heads above the rest, donning black, highly ornamental armor with this sort of faded gold trim all about, and a symbol that looks like sort of a lopsided axe head. So it like sort of shifted up, like the axe head's one shifted up, one shifted down, with a sort of oculus at the center. He's got a cape. He brandishes a pair of mauls on his back, and a voice coming from him, and it must be from him. He's certainly the most impressive thing in this scene. And you hear these words trail on. Sigmar is a false god, and Archeon a slave to his own hypocrisy. The rest of them petty, petulant, impotent. And you notice the 6 other figures seem to be tethered to him, quite literally and physically, with some sort of amalgamation of a chain and hose. Unlike anything you've ever seen, and you're quite versed in crazy technologies, being from a Caradhran city. This is DIY, almost crazy. It doesn't even really resemble the syringe too much. That syringe had a very certain design character to it that I think the party picked up on. This is very peculiar. And then the other figures all about him, sort of like in this sort of discordant, at once harmonious sort of moaning and groaning. You realize they're bound in these straitjackets with their faces all covered. And then you just, as one of them sort of turns and begins to notice you, you kind of shoot up in bed. Skig has pulled the needlehead, the Urgold needlehead from the syringe from your flesh, and you seem to have regained yourself. As you're upon waking, you hear all of those 6 in unison whisper a name. Nihilus.
Alice?
What was that name? I didn't hear it.
Nihilus.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you cut out a little the audio.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were going for dream or the audio cut.
Yeah.
Okay. You okay? This came out of you.
Is it the same tip that I had gathered before, or did somebody else stab me?
Nope, this is the same tip you gathered before, and you noticed it had bored its way through your like your pocket, your satchel, and like into your pants and then into your thigh. You're not sure if it happened when you were fighting, like walking about, or when it happened.
There were like creatures in a jungle, like 7, and a guy with 2 moles and two heads taller. And he said the name Nihilus, and they were like bound, and there was tech. Oh,
Okay.
I need to stop drinking bad ale.
Oh, a vision.
Or bad ale, or a vision. Maybe you had a vision. I had a vision.
I don't trust these Stormcast with their fake bugmans.
Well,
I've grown wary of visions, or at least suspicious.
what was the name?
Nihilus?
Okay.
It spoke of Sigmar as a false god and Archeon as a slave.
What? What a weird heretic.
Well, he knows how to pick his enemies.
Yeah, he's half right.
Chuck, you kind of cut out there. It sounded like you were trying to indirect there.
Not to interrupt, but don't we have a boat to catch, everybody? Should we discuss this now or on the seas?
No, she's right. We should try to get going to see if we can find Avindr. See if he actually has a boat.
So, Fiergrim, what do you do with the tip of the syringe with this bit of Urgold?
I try to put it in something that's a little bit more sturdy.
You have like an
I pull out an empty bottle since I bought extra empty bottles, and it's a little thin
Well,
bottle.
that's what I was looking.
Yes, I actually have that on my character sheet.
Yeah, I was just
I
looking
hand
to see
it
if I
to
had
you.
one.
It's glass.
I put the needle tip in the glass bottle.
All right. You kind of like swish it around. It like clanks a bit, and you feel pretty confident it's secured this time.
Oh.
So again, I can always give you my bottle of acid to put it
This
in.
thing. What'd you say?
Acid. The
If the needle acts up again, I can give you my bottle of acid to put it in.
That
Fair
seems
enough.
bad. We would just throw it on the ground or something, or destroy it rather than do that.
This thing stabbed you? Can I grab the
I don't know. I don't know when it stabbed me. Hey, be careful with that. That's her gold.
I look at the bottle and like place it in my hand so that like the Urgold tip is kind of in the bottom of the bottle, and I'm just like holding it, like this.
Mhm.
Is the needle moving around at all or anything?
No, it's not like it's like a compass head spinning or anything like that. It seems inert and harmless. It's I mean, we're talking like a couple millimeters maximum of Urgold, just the tiniest sliver.
Hand it back.
Enough to be like if you were panning, it's totally a piece you'd have kept, but it's that minimum size of gold you'd have kept if you were panning.
So I don't get it. Whose gold is this? You said it's her gold. Whose?
You rat. It's Urgold.
How many times will I hear this joke?
I don't know what
Every
to say
day.
right now.
Can we go? Let's
Sure.
go.
You don your whatever armor a fire slayer might wear. I think you've got your runes, right? Like, so you just bang one rune into your shoulder a little harder. Yeah. Tighten your pantaloons.
Putting the rest of my bowling cloth on. Yes. I grab my shield, my sling shield.
All right.
And okay. Let's go.
All right, you guys make your way through the mist-covered streets, and the mist is particularly thick this morning in the streets of Anvilgard, winding your way towards the docks where you full-on expect to see Avindr wear in his opulence, his great purple coat and such. And right on cue, you do. A beam of light comes down, catches him like he's in the full-on Captain Morgan's pose, like one boot up on like a barrel, like just kind of like. I love the smell of the Searing Sea in the morning, he says. Oh! And he just like waves and loudly just greets the party from across, like just well across the docks. Like,
he's your friend. You go talk to him.
My whole body emotes as if it was eyes rolling as hard as possible.
I have a headache.
I touch
we
your
need
head.
passage.
I touch his head and use Revitalize to remove any additional headache he has.
I love that ability.
I
I
swat
love
him
that
away.
ability so much.
There, your headache's gone. Go talk to him.
You're killing my buzz.
You feel revitalized. Your headache is gone.
Ugh.
And the
Rat magic.
glimpses of the dream, but mere wisps at this point. Avindr's like, "Oh, passage," he says. "Why, I happen to be passing through here quite soon. Where going? Where are you going, might I ask?"
Question. We're going to an island. I repeat to him what the person told me, because you said we had enough to do like longitudinal, latitudinal directions from his confession.
Yeah.
I give him that.
It's like, not a very great tourist place, is it? He says, "No, I know of it. It's not far off the Charwin coast. A touch out my way, but I'm willing to drop you on the." He's like, "But I'd be willing to take you. Just give me, just give me a little bit, and I can have my ship ready in no time at all." And he's like, kind of looking around the docks.
Sure, of course. We'll wait over there.
All right, he nods. You see him walk away, like kind of touching like his breast pockets and stuff like that. Seems to be searching for something, and he disappears, like just sort of around a stack of crates. He seems to be gone just an awkwardly long enough amount of time. You know, right where you're about to go look for, like, you're currently having the discussion, should we go look for him type thing.
I'm still uncertain if this man has a boat.
I don't know. It might be a very small boat. That could be problematic.
And it's about that time that that he comes back. He's like, all right. He's like, I've got my crew ready to make berth. I did have to pick up a couple of extra passengers to, you know, pay your fare. He just kind of like grins and like and elbows the dwarf. He's like, but it's right this way. You guys walk basically to right around the corner, and you see a vessel little bigger than two rowboats, like stitched together. It's got a minor mast, and like there's one sort of elderly gentleman sitting in there with a cob pipe, like eye patch, like sitting there, like currently scooping water out of it with a bucket and like dumping it at like into the harbor.
Nope.
Okay. Is it big enough for the ogre to fit? Can we all fit in it? That's the question.
No, you would not be able to fit in this vessel.
Okay.
And he sees you guys kind of like looking at each other, he's like, no, not there, and he points out into the harbor, and you see a full galley.
Oh, so this is just the ship that actually takes you out to the ship.
It's actually got as you would expect, it's got a purple emblem up on the mast. The ship itself is I mean, it's full, it's sprawling. It's got those sort of like angular juts to it, and it's even got these sort of like pontoons, these fins that kind of come off the side. They look a bit peculiar, a little bit like they're made in a different time period than the rest of the vessel, but it's actually pretty impressive. You didn't quite expect this.
Wow, really nice boat.
So being born in Avangard, would I recognize the pennants as being like a regular thing that we've seen or similar?
His roll a lore mind. DN will be a 5.
That's a nope.
Okay, yeah, you're not certain. Although you have found him like kind of glancing at you from time to time, and then like kind of like shaking his head as if like trying to shake a memory loose.
Okay, so how do we get him out to that?
Oh, we'll just have to come back for him, he says. Like, you guys, like, all get on. And,
I can put a foot in each boat, I suppose.
So, like just big winter, like, hands on hips, you know, like, one foot straddling either side. He's just, like, standing up, and the rest of the party is the front. So it's like a weird, bizarro depiction of the George Washington painting. Like, except the ogre.
Yeah. They even have a bald eagle, right?
Yeah, exactly. The blood vulture, like spreading its wings behind you. You're backlit by one of the many suns or whatever. You get on the boat, and pretty much he kind of like shows you to some quarters below deck. Mentions where like you'll be taking your meals. It's a medium-sized vessel.
How many actual like distinct decks are there? Like, is there a main deck? And
there's a main deck. There's the sort of like upper deck where like they actually like pilot the boat from. You go under sort of on the main deck away from that. The poop deck is the raised one, right?
It depends, but yeah, it could be.
Yeah, so you've got that like raised up. You've actually got like sort of on the flank, up near the front is actually how you go below deck. That's one distinct like sort of deck with half of it devoted to like sort of crew quarters, the other half to like various like functional rooms and stuff like that. And then you have like the below deck where it's the sub deck where like nobody wants to go. That's just, you know, cargo and stuff.
Yep.
You did notice that there were cannons aboard this vessel, or at least evidence that there might be cannons aboard this vessel. You guys you're adventurers. He was non-specific as to what his particular occupation is. But it's the mortal realms. It's not uncommon for even a trade vessel to have these. When questioned what his job is, he just mentions that he's in the freelance market, as it were.
Okay.
We
don't
And he says mostly tours.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to question. I don't know enough to question. This is a very nice boat.
Yeah, and
we're on this for free.
Yeah.
Did you steal this?
No, but we are in quite a hurry, he says.
Okay.
No,
Are you selling us
quite a
into
hurry.
slavery?
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. What was that, Feargrim?
Are you selling us into slavery?
I don't know what you heard, but I assure you that Mara is a liar. She just doesn't look it.
A very rude question. I think he would tell us if he was trying to sell us into some sport. Like, that's clearly this man is very nice. He's offered us free passage.
I just looked at
What
this
kind of slave person wouldn't be upfront about their motives? I mean, come on.
Exactly. He would clearly try to ambush us and put bags over our heads and stuff. No. This is clearly a man of faith who sees and looks upon us and understands that we are on a holy mission. And we have great things to do for the will of
How
Sigmar.
much for passage?
He's like, as I said, I took on a couple extra passengers to pay your fare. He's like, it turns out they were going the same place. It was a crazy coincidence. And he just points across the deck, and you see about 6 members in the Dawn garb, the 11th Dawn garb, as the ship begins to the ship's already out of the harbor.
Okay.
Are there any dwarves?
Oh yeah, it's crewed by a plethora.
No.
Oh.
No. Amongst the Dawn worshippers.
Uh,
Or are they all human and elf?
there is a single dwarf amongst them. Vince, you cut out if you were saying anything.
I was not.
Okay.
I do want to ask this question of Avindr. Excuse me, Avindr. I know you're busy captaining the boat. I just have one quick question. Those 6 other passengers you picked up, did they already pay you?
He nods. He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." They were quite upfront with pay. He says, I just, as I said, I was kind of looking around to get some extra passengers. Look, I like you guys, but I've only partied with you the once, and so I had to justify. I mean, I was heading that way, but it is a little bit out of my way, so it really helps to have the extra fare. He says, ships don't pay for themselves to keep themselves in repair.
I wave him off with a paw. No, just wanted to make sure you were going to actually have your money. That's all. Thank you.
Oh no, they were quite upfront, super amicable. They're really nice. He just I mean, they keep talking about I don't know, the sun and stuff, and he's like, it's hot enough already.
So, of the 6 that are over there, yeah, go ahead, Big Winner.
How much did they pay to go?
10.
I've never taken a boat before, so I don't know.
It was 10 ahead. He says. Each had a file.
Oh, okay. That was all he was curious about. I'm serious.
Oh, okay.
Out of all the things that you really should be curious about in this, that's the thing he latched onto.
So, are we gonna go? I wander back to the group. So, are we gonna go talk to these heretics or what?
Well, they already paid.
So it's 1 dwarf, 3 elves, 6 humans.
Okay, so there's 9 of them total, or 10 of them total. Okay.
Should we?
I think I said 6
cause
before.
any trouble since we're stuck on a boat right now?
I think I said 6 before. It's 1, 2, 3. Sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yep.
So 1 dwarf, 2 elves, 3 humans.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go talk to them.
They seem nervous upon your approach, unsure and.
I hunch less and stand taller. I'm normally quite hunched.
Stand tall.
Well, Haven.
They just kind of like look at you quizzically. You're all kind of like on the boat as it's bobbing, and all the action around you as like couple like a dwarf like wearing some checkered pants runs over and like shirtless and checkered pants, save for a single bandolier with his water skin. You are certain doesn't smell like water, and he goes and ties off a rope just kind of like in the background and stuff like that, and they're getting the mast set and then to kind of like get up to speed, and just a sea of activity really here.
Excuse me. Hello?
Yes. One of the humans addresses you.
So, you are all part of a heretical faith. What brings you to this island of heresy?
Yeah, excuse me?
I think I was pretty clear. I can say it differently if you want. You're part of a cult that was clearly had some negative intentions. So, and is probably going to be outlawed soon. But what are you doing going to this island?
Curious for the one of the elves pipes in. Curious for a Skaven to question our intent.
Why?
I'm afraid of betwixt the two of us, your species' reputation has a far worse connotation.
That's speciesed.
I
don't appreciate it.
From afar, see him having trouble with the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ship. It's not super huge. It's very loud, so you maybe can't make out the particulars of what they're talking about. But you see this sort of like the standoffish sort of postures of the six versus like the Skaven, who's just got a pretty proper standing upright, really non-threatening, a really cordial sort of stance to him.
I appreciate that many Skaven are dangerous and you would be afraid. I understand. But that's not what I am. I am but a humble follower of the God King. He who brings light and safety to all of those in the mortal realms who wish it and who don't seek after heresy. So, I just want to make sure that, you're not going to cause any trouble, either now or on the island, and know what your intentions are. That's all.
Oh, we'll be no trouble, says like one of the other humans more earnestly than the previous. We just want to get to where we're going. And like the sort of third human who hasn't talked yet sort of has a sympathetic tone.
Okay. What do you hope to gain on the island? What are you going there for?
Don't understand what business it is of yours, says the dwarf.
Because I'm going there too.
Kind of nudge Big Winter. Hey, can you toss me maybe up towards like a mast?
They all kind of like
up above.
Look at each other that you're going to the same place. Like they all kind of look at each other, truly puzzled. Like, so you've okay. That's all right. Well, we're just extra help. There's been some they just have need of extra hands. And he just nods.
Okay. So, that's fair. You haven't done anything bad. Keep to yourself, and I would recommend that you be safe and stay within the light of the God King when you get to the island, because I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but if you do heretical things that get in our way, it will not end well for you.
And having been tossed up to a mass above, I would like to try to intimidate from afar, please.
You will find you have disadvantage, so this is going to be a DN 5 rather than the standard 4.
I will take that. Well, I got 3 5s and a 4.
The sort of more modest of the humans truly does not hear the conversation. It is terrified of the witch elf just up in the crow's nest or whatever, hanging off one side of the mat, just staring and basically
like a cat,
just
ready to pounce,
just the eyes, and it's your neck seems unnaturally long, as if you're just kind of looming over, and just like you've never seen someone more afraid. The rest of them have like your presence, and they've measured in varying degrees of caution, fear, and apprehension. But so,
I sort of take note of the witch elf and just go and sort of shake my head, and then I will say to them, as I said, just be safe, be careful, be smart, and remember that the light and power of the God King burns away all those who would seek after heresy until only the righteous remain. Count yourself among the righteous, and you'll be fine.
the elf, one of the elf that spoke previously. The other one's kept completely quiet throughout this whole thing. Hood has remained up and hands kind of crossed and hidden inside the robes type thing. The one that spoke before noted and just kind of gives a wary eye.
Turn around and walk back.
It's like the most suspicious person ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, pot kettle. There's just an ogre. The ogre's currently got a bunch of bananas or something just under his arm. He's just currently eating them, freaking peel and all, or oh.
I was thinking of helping the sailors do stuff.
They seem to have it well under control. Lanessa, however, you from your sort of vantage point, you can sort of see the wafting fog along the Searing Sea, almost raising in these waves of steam, casting these mirages of things out into the space and the sea. You're well at sea at this point, but you've got that feeling of somebody watching you, and you've had it for a while now. Maybe from when you were thrown up to the mast or whatever, but
Okay, but just on the boat, not before.
Not before. Basically, since you've gotten to the boat, you maybe you had it, but it's become it's pronounced now.
Okay.
You're sort of separated from the party. That sort of feeling that feeling of isolation has heightened your sense of awareness, and you really feel like someone's watching you. And you kind of look around the boat and stuff like that. Why don't you give me it's not called a perception, it's called a
natural awareness.
Awareness. Yeah. So you're already naturally aware that somebody's watching you. Why don't you go ahead and roll an awareness mind, DN4. Degrees of success will give you more details.
None.
All right. You get this distinct feeling that someone's watching you, and then you make eye contacts with Captain Avindr, and he's just looks up at you and just and he just scratches his head, and then he just shakes his head, and that's that feel, he just and then he goes back to looking around and barking orders and stuff like that, and he's got the coat is on the shoulders, the coat is on the shoulders. He's got one hand on the he's got one hand, and a dwarf keeps trying to take the wheel from him, and he keeps pushing him away and keeps his hand on the wheel. And that feeling that you're being watched doesn't go away even when he focuses back on the sea. So you're certain it wasn't him, or maybe it's your mind playing tricks on you. I don't know that your character's ever necessarily been this far out at sea. Maybe you're just getting that sort of paranoia. Sea madness.
Madness. I would I'll climb down to the group and.
Tom looks disgusted at the Ren and Stimpy reference.
When she comes back down, I will say, I properly warned them that they are potential heretics and to keep themselves in line. So now, if they should do something that is bad, then we can attack them.
I can't
so
say
they
certain,
know
but-
we're going to the island.
Yes.
Are they going to let their friends know then?
I don't know.
We probably need to kill them then.
We're not just going to randomly kill them.
No, I mean we'll have to eventually.
If they do bad things, then yes, we will.
Yeah, and bad cults do bad things. So eventually we kill them, but not yet.
Can't say for certain, but something doesn't feel right. I don't know if it's just them. I can't say for certain what it is, though.
Yeah,
Oh.
this thing's moving all over the place.
I think the captain's checking you out.
I don't like boats.
Like, you say that, and, like, the captain once again just, like, staring at you. Like, it's not, like, this, like, weird, like, it's not a creepy stance. It's like he just, it's like, like he's looking, it's like he's seeing some sort of phantom of recollection or something every time, and he can't place it every time he stares at you.
He's a dark elf, and he's staring at another dark elf, so...
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Yeah, so I mean, for the rest of the voyage, I don't know how long it's going to take. Like, how long is this expected to take to sail out to this place?
Oh, it's like 3 days.
Okay.
3 days there.
Right,
It would be 3 days back, and his journey takes him basically a day away and a day back. So you'd be on the island isolated 2 days for 2 days.
Okay.
He would have explained that all at some point, I'm sure, in like just ambient conversations.
I act normally until something happens or we get there.
So basically the night of the sort of like the beginning of the voyage, Avindr kicks off with a great feast. To describe this, the like under like in the sort of like that first sub deck, there is like a grand sort of like on a galley. It's called a. Why am I forgetting my boat parts? I haven't brushed up on my boat terms for a while. There's the cooking room with the mess, not mess hall. It's called something else. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
My grandpa's mad at me right now. The sailor. I want you to know that. So you're in the mess hall, and there's a very distinct feeling of a tavern to it. Like it feels like a tavern on the sea. It's been modeled after like he tells you it's been modeled after his favorite tavern, the Square Pegasus. He says, if you're ever in the floating city, you should check it out. He says,
It's a floating city.
he just like looks back to like he goes back to telling this. No, he goes back to like like he just like as if he said something maybe he wasn't supposed to, and he goes back to like talking to like who like his crewmates and stuff, and he coat still on the shoulders, pistol and rapier still at the belt. He holds aloft a great flagon. It's all filled with a. I looked up the stout just for you, Tom. I want you to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I gonna have to punch him again?
Maybe. It's the Karazak Stout.
Oh, you share some of that.
Or Kezrak Stout. So he's got like a big cask of it, a big barrel of it on tap, like classic style, where they just hammered in a peg and like they're tapping all the mugs, passing him around. And there is what would be a proper feast, but there's an ogre on board, so it's all right. He's like it doesn't keep lads, so eat as much as you can. He says it's after that it's all the salted fishes and pigs you can handle, you can stomach, and you can stomach. So eat it up, lads. He says, and like he gets pushed down by that dwarf that was wrestling him for the wheel. And he's like, but don't drink all my mead. He says, and he like points around the room. The six sort of acolytes are sitting like off, unsure, and they've got like their little meager display of food on like little like battered plates with no silverware and stuff like that. They're lucky to even have plates, but they are guests after all, and Avindr is a professional after all, though he doesn't say what he's a professional of. So like you're all like sat down. You find yourself seated a little bit closer to the crew on account of well, at least you, Feargrim, being a friend, and if you're a friend of his, then your whole crew is a friend of his, because that's professional code. So you all find yourself sitting there. It's probably about the first time, Lanessa, that feeling that you've been watched has left you since you've been on the ship. If you don't do anything of note or interrogate the I shouldn't say interrogate. Converse further with the acolytes from the 11th.
I mean, they're all hanging together at the moment.
They're grouped up, and they're pretty like removed from they don't quite know what to make of this.
I make no motions to them. I look over every so often just to make sure they're still being on the up and up, not doing anything evil, not getting any syringes out.
The party can roll an intuition.
Awareness? What do you mean?
Intuition, mind.
Oh, intuition, mind. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so this is like reading places, reading people. This is This is detect
All right.
motive or sense motive.
What's our target number?
4s.
I got a 5.
I got one.
Unless otherwise stated, it's DN4 usually. So.
Oh, that's like the default? Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
4 is just it's an average check. If it's easy, 3.
This is intuition.
Yeah.
Is everybody making this?
Yep, everyone in the
Yeah, whole
party.
party.
You're all like, no one's like I get hammered and I run into the back. No one's like really left the table. You're all kind of. I assume you're kind of in a default setting, so you get your intuition.
1 success.
One.
Yep, one
One.
here too.
1. Everyone with 1 success. You get the sense that this particular group of the 11th Dawn, these particular acolytes, haven't done this before. A very distinct sense. Whether it's they haven't been on this boat before, or if they haven't, whatever task they said they had taken, if they've done that before. Like, you just get this distinct feeling that they're new to this thing. Not as new, certainly not as new as those sort of like neonates you met in the recruitment. They're like, they just seem a little bit not new recruit, new to this. They whatever's going on, they're
Like a first mission or something.
yeah, maybe something like that.
Okay. I watch them every so often, make sure that they know. Every so often when one of them looks over, I just hold up, I do this. I'm just like, and I hold up the holy symbol of Sigmar.
Like point.
Like, you're just like, your head's completely around, and then like, just like we cut to them, and the next scene within like half a second, your head's just like completely back around it, just like pointing at the symbol. I'm gonna go ahead and say that, like, Big Winter, you eat you don't feel, this is the first meal you've had in a while that you don't feel immediately hungry after, like you eat more than your fair share of like all the various fresh produces and stuff like that that's just going to go bad on a journey to sea.
Yeah, I'm not trying to run them out or anything, but I'm eating enough to.
But he does.
No, after this it's all like
He doesn't.
Oftentimes those lines intersect. I agree.
Yeah, after this it's all stale bread. It's all like stale like breads made without yeast, and like just salted everything, salted fish, salted like apples, like just like, because salt's a it preserves shit. So it's just like the grossest food, just so that it stays at sea. Like, so so you eat all the good stuff on the first night. It's good luck after all. So you clear the kegs, and you clear the food stores of the fresh produce and the fresh meal, the fresh foods. And from there, you retire to your chambers. You're basically just like in amongst the crew chambers, like you're talking classic bunks, rows on the walls. You do have your own bunks, however, because some of the crew just sleep on the floor or like leaning up against a post or pillar. A few actually like have a nice little nest by a cannon, in the crew chamber, because of course it's funnier that way. Like the like cannonball rolling back and forth, like Dwarf grabs it, like fluffs it like it's a pillow, like puts it under his head. And then y'all have just about nodded off when you roll awareness, and this perception test is based on auditory. So if your acute senses are auditory based, then you would get the auditory.
Okay.
This is awareness.
Oh, I am not aware.
6 and a 1.
Nice.
2 successes.
This is a default, right? I
Yep.
got a 4
2
and a 5.
5s.
So those of you with 2, you wake up that sort of like millisecond before when something is going wrong,
Right.
type thing. So you wake up and you're just like, you become aware that like something is going on, like below deck, like rumbling, like something that like anyone who's just like asleep or not like thinking about it would just think of as the sea or knocking about, the standard stuff that happens on a ship, creaking and stuff like that. But you hear distinct sort of like tremors of force coming from below deck. So you have like this hall that leads out the crew chamber, and at the very, very far end would be the next subdeck. You get this distinct, like there are tremors, something is wrong. Like your heightened awareness of like kind of waking from a slumber. You get these like tremors and just these noises. With just the one, I mean, you stirred awake and you already see Furgrim and Furgrim and Big Winter like up and literally standing, like they're just like kind of standing, like looking around. I will note that everyone who's awake right now, it doesn't take you too much to glance over and see all 6 acolytes are accounted for, at least on the surface level. You see their robes, you see them like laying on their little rugs on the floor.
I'm going to actually stealth here, and you might laugh, but I'm pretty good at stealthing. Hunters do this in the game. They ambush. They have an ambush, right? So
yeah. No, he just like melts into the
my
shadow
movement,
like a ninja.
I'm more trying to be quiet rather than like hidden or anything. But
okay.
Like moving forward, I'm being sneaky.
Okay. Roll it.
Did I wake up and did something happen?
You had 2 successes, so you're aware of these tremors below deck.
There are tremors below deck.
And you woke up with the ogre, and the ogre just like sort of like, you see him like step back and like melt into a shadow.
Yeah, I'm more trying to be quiet, so I'm like kind of hunched and stuff. But yeah, it's our sneaking, is that like opposed, or am I just rolling against 4s?
So I would say track your numbers above 4 in this situation. In case it is opposed, I'll just track additional.
I'll poke the witch elf.
Okay, what do you get?
I'll begin.
Big Winter, what do you get?
I got 4, 6, 1, 1.
Okay. I mean, you successfully like mask your sounds and stuff like that. That's obvious to you immediately. Like you don't kick things, you don't make noises. You're moving deftly through the room and like around.
And then like Feargrim, I'm moving to like wake the others up that haven't quite woken up yet.
The only one who hasn't awoken is Skig, and Skig was like nestled so comfy like next to you. You're just a furnace of perfect cozy heat, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like he had his own bunk perhaps, but like you were on the bottom bunk and he just managed to like flop into a nice little like crevice up against the wall. And he's still like he kind of like rolled over, and he seems quite content and asleep right now.
Well, I ruined that and wake him up. And like with a finger over my lips,
And as I wake up with a what might be a loud yawn.
I'll slap her.
No, we have to be quiet.
Okay. So
I take a little bit too much delight in that.
A low growl escapes my lips.
Yeah. All right.
Got to get that frenzy spinning up.
So, I'm gonna go ahead. Big Winter's kind of at the forefront, already making his way most of the way across the room. He's pretty much in his own zone at this point because you don't want to ruin his cover and his silence, right? The rest of the party, you stay back. But what do you do?
If he seems to be being quiet and stealthy, then I'm going to follow along behind him at some paces, right? Like if it seems like everybody else is hanging back, I'll hang back and also be stealthy. Like, I mean, I'll just be up on my footpads.
All right, go ahead and roll it. Y'all can roll your stealths. As I open Obsidian Stout by Deschutes.
1 success against 4.
1, okay.
Do I have the feeling of being watched again? Is that returned?
You kind of lost track of it at some point. when you got amongst the people and stuff. But it was it's not there anymore. Not that you're not being watched. I don't want you to take that like false. It's just like you lost track of that like heightened awareness at some point or over the course of the night. Because pretty much as soon as you like went back to the party, you lost it. All right, we got one success on the Skaven. On Skig. Do dwarves stealth?
Unbelievable!
Unbelievable. Thank you so much for that follow there, Aaron.
Sure.
Sure.
I'll tiptoe.
Okay.
What am I looking for?
Force.
And this is in, is this in mind or body?
Body stealth.
Body.
Body
Yeah,
stealth.
body stealth.
Oh. I am apparently the sneakiest dwarf that ever sneaked.
Yeah.
I 2 6s and a 5.
Nice.
Woo! All right.
Stealth. Is there any gaps I might see that allow I can use my contortionist to possibly peek down below and see what's going on?
All right. So like, once you get out of the crew chamber, like there's all kinds of like brachiation to be done into the subdeck and stuff because it's pillars and like beams and stuff. There's like nets and grating and so like you could certainly make a lot of work out of contortionist. Once you get sort of to the next zone, I would say.
All right.
I'll take up rear guard.
Okay. And so, did you stealth as well?
Yes, 2 success.
Okay, cool. All right. All right. So the party pretty much. I feel like you're rocking the rear guard. I think Skig seems to be a little bit closer to. If my marching order is correct, it goes Big Winter, Skig, Furgrim, and then Lanissa. You're moving forward. Big Winter, you're like I said, a full zone ahead. You kind of like get out the crew chambers, and like you're like kind of looking down this hall on the other end, and there's not like a door or anything between like where the crew sleep. It just goes into a hall eventually, right? And so it opens up, and you're like kind of looking, and you see this sort of flitting, very large shadow from between some of the gratings and the nets in this subdeck, kind of move towards the front of the ship. And then you hear like this just cracking, popping noise up ahead. Some boards bust, and that big shadow, it's just out of the peripheral, busts through like busts through the deck and onto like up onto the top of the ship. And whatever it is, it's bigger than you.
Like something, I want to make sure I understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're staring into a cargo hold. Okay, like there's a cargo hold in front of us.
Yeah, pretty much. You go to the end and you look down and there's.
I mean, like Big Winter's technically the only one seeing this moment because we're behind him in the level change down.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did this thing explode like out of the bottom from beneath the hull of the boat? Like is
no, out of the cargo hole. He's like looking.
Okay, so something in this cargo hold busted up a level and went through this up into the old crew deck we were on.
You didn't make it out of the crew deck, so technically it'd be up but forward from you guys, and then it continued going up onto the top deck.
So we went forward. We went directly forward.
Yeah, you guys went straight forward, and then and then heading down a plane.
So it bashed its way up. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't have any whatever was securing it in the sub. There was no resistance there, so it basically just what you guys heard was this thing getting loose to begin with. Then everybody heard it busting through. So you kind of got to be at the forefront of whatever's going on, essentially. I mean, if you didn't make it, I would just have it eat you in your sleep.
So we give chase.
Checks out.
Yeah.
If I see him break, then I'm going to break right after him. Like, if he goes at a sprint, then...
Yeah, so Big Winter just kind of runs, like... Do you run and, like, look up the hole, or do you... So you had, again, you had this point where you're looking down into the cargo hold. You didn't quite go down yet, and the party's sort of behind you. This is where I would love to doodle something. The party's sort of, like, at the back. You're kind of at this middle section of the ship, looking down into the sun.
I'm following where it went.
Okay.
So
you run and then
it's
hole and
probably
you look
wise
up.
to check out the area and see if there's any more. But
And the party has an opportunity to essentially follow you directly, or take the stairs and then just go straight up. Because you guys are in essentially the middle deck.
Like we can pincer. Yeah.
Okay. So that what?
I
I'll
will
take the
follow him
stairs.
directly.
What was that? You'll follow him directly. You said.
I follow him directly. Yes.
Cool. Cool. What do y'all do?
I'm taking the stairs.
Cool.
Stairs.
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 Okay.
Stairs.
All right. So what ends up happening then? You guys are still kind of in a stealth. So I will let you prepare essentially an action once you kind of emerge and see what you see. But what you see is this sort of serpentine, bulbous-bodied thing that takes up a good portion of the deck. It's about half the height of the mast. It has 5 heads, serpentine, black, these sort of purpley black scales. And it seems to be like sort of emanating I don't know if it's the steam of the night. The moon's in full like in full bloom, like as close as it's ever been, and it is currently like munching on one of the crew and like throwing another dude off to sea.
Does
Okay.
does it have serpentine heads, or does it have like
Sucker head?
scythed?
Well, it's got the
head.
predominant serpentine heads, and then it's got the sucker heads.
Oh, okay. It's got a little both.
Oh.
Little both action.
All right.
The
50-50.
Caracas, which one's Caracas? It's not Caracas.
Charybdis.
It's not. I'm sorry, it's not Charybdis. It's not Charybdis.
Okay.
It's just a Hydra.
Just the Hydra.
It's not
That's
as
what we're
if,
trying to
if any of
discern.
you knew Hydras, it's not quite as big as other Hydras. It seems to be like almost like the runt of the Hydras, like
Sure,
an
it's an adolescent.
yeah.
Got it. I mean, it's still real big if it's half the height of the mass.
Well, not
It's a
the
big
mast
thing.
to the not to the mast, like the sort of it's as tall as a deck essentially. Like it's
15 feet tall
about 10,
at the head.
10, 12. It's bigger than about 15 feet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would
Bulk-
imagine it's bigger than the ogre with all.
bigger than the
Yeah,
ogre with
yeah.
all its heads looming up above him.
Yeah. Maybe its body is the size of the ogre, but its head's looming up. Make
Right,
it tall.
right, exactly.
Yep. Okay.
You, of note, as you guys sort of prepare for this, and there will be 3 zones. There's essentially anything, like you've got the sub deck, and then you have the sort of like far, like the sort of like further away where the stairs are, 1 zone away, and then you have the main zone where this Hydra is kind of near the front, like munching on a couple of the crew. Avindr himself is nowhere to be seen. And again, the party saw those 6 acolytes currently in their rooms. At least people wearing acolyte robes laying there, right?
Understand.
And you can go ahead and roll for initiative, but you did get an action to prep.
Okay. So if I understand right, basically, Big Winter and myself are 2 zones away from the Hydra, and
You guys are below the Hydra. Like, you're basically
okay, got it.
right below the Hydra. It busted up. Yeah.
so Zone 1 where they are, Zone 2 where we are under the deck, Zone 3 where it is.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep. I'm with you. All right. Hit me with some initiative, folks. Feargrim.
7.
Okay. Lanissa.
8.
Big Winter.
7.
Popular number today. And the bad guy, the Hydra.
3.
Okay. Well,
Where do
winner,
you go?
winner. Chicken dinner.
Where do you go?
Lanissa is first.
Where do you go, Skig?
I'm down with Big Winner.
Okay. All right. That's why you said the popular number crack. All right, let me open up my sheet here. You guys get an action to essentially prep. You can't, like, that could be climb up to where it is, right? If you got a ranged attack, you could like pop off a ranged attack, that sort of thing. A buff
Did you
spell.
say we can or cannot climb up
Oh, you can totally climb up to
in
it.
our
I mean,
bonus action? thing?
It's just a ship. There's nets and shit everywhere. There's
no,
nets and stuff.
for our bonus action. Thing,
Yeah,
I mean.
your prep can be to just like climb or get
Okay.
closer.
And that's not the actual action this turn. That's
Correct.
effectively just
Correct. You
okay.
guys were stealthing. You were doing it. Had you not stealthed, it wouldn't have went all the way up to like the loudest guy on the deck. It would have just went and maybe stopped in that mid deck, and you would have had a weird like squiggly fight where everyone's isolated. But it tried to get out basically.
Okay.
All right, Lanissa.
I would like to try and run onto its back to begin my attacks.
All right. So you're essentially like what would be the 2 zones away. You pretty much have to double move
Okay.
it to like
Okay.
get in there.
That's
Well,
fine.
I suppose your prep could have been to move, and then you can do like the charge thing, so you can lower your to actually like run and attack it. Getting onto its back is a little bit too advanced right now in that whole compilation of stuff, but then next turn you could certainly like set up some cool acrobatic-y stuff. But you can between your prep action and then running up and doing the charge attack.
I won't run up and charge. I will move up closer to it, towards it, and I will try to climb on top a mast to get above it.
Cool. All right, then just an athletics. Using your advantage for brachiation or for contortionist.
That would be 3 successes then.
All right. You are easily where you need to be to Sephiroth this thing.
Okay.
Lynn, that was Lynn. Feargrim.
Oi! What are you doing? I'm gonna try to get its attention.
Are you going to use your like bonus thing to get closer to it?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
And then, so I'm gonna move. I'm gonna get its attention. My bonus thing's get its attention. I'm gonna move closer to it, and then I'm gonna try to calm him down. I'm gonna be like, "Whoa,
I did not see this.
I
coming.
got this."
All right. So you're like, whoa.
Hey, I've spent some time around large lizardy things. I got this.
All right.
I got a magma drop on my shoulder. I know what this is.
Yeah. All right. I love this. I love where this is going. Big winter.
got this.
Big winter.
Whoa.
Well, Tom, you stole my idea, but now we're doubling up. We're doubling
Whoa!
up.
You're on the other
We're
side.
doing it.
So,
Yeah.
bonus action, I'm climbing up, and
Mhm.
all right, I'm an ogre, but my mind is 2. I'm not stupid.
Ogres are cunning though. Like
This
if they could
This is
ever settle down.
clearly-
Yeah. Go ahead.
This
This
is
is your
clearly
wheelhouse.
cargo that he's transporting, and where the real money comes from.
Wow! Look at you.
And so, however delicious
Mhm.
it may look, and it really looks delicious. I like this guy in his big boat. Boat's big. I like the boat. And so Dwarf has the right idea. I'm gonna use bonus action to climb up there. I assume I have to make an
Yeah,
athletics.
athletics, yep.
Like that.
Yep.
And I got 2 successes. And when I get up there, I'm going to also try to mollify it in some manner using. I could see beast handling. I have that.
Yep. Beast handling is the most
I got
appropriate.
training in beast handling.
All right. Yeah. So you will be so it's going to be DN5 because it's panicked. It's not in its right mind. So it's harder to do this. So you have this disadvantage going into this.
All right. In which case, I have 1 success.
So Feargrim already kind of got its attention and didn't like attack outright. So it's just like got this like one of its heads is just like currently like chewing on this like dwarf, and it's really tough. And the dwarf is like still like kind of screaming like like he just kind of keeps going up and down with the bobbing head.
Sorry,
And-
man.
I mean, I let him eat the dwarf. If I tried to take it from him, it'd make it worse. So
Right.
That's rough, buddy.
But you like
Sorry, bro.
so Feargrim already kind of got its attention, and then like it really like 3 of its heads just kind of like swivel over to you. 1 head stays on Feargrim, and they seem curious, like quizzical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now I hit it.
standing tall,
Okay.
reaching out. You know, I got the bird nearby and stuff. I'm using beast claw, mountain people kind of energy
Yeah.
flowing out of Flora up here, and just trying to.
I love
I've
this
built
party
bigger
so much.
creatures.
Skig, I believe it's your go.
Yeah. Bonus. I'll just try to climb up. I do not.
Okay. Yeah,
I
you
try
get
to
like
scamper and fail.
it's like you scamper and like your tail and like one leg get caught in the net that you're trying to like scale up.
So I'll attempt to move up again. I assume I can actually use like a real.
Yeah,
move
now you
to
can
try
use
to
your
get up
real
there.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
No, you have to wait till you level up to try again.
Right, exactly.
Like the old.
Yeah. 3 successes that time. So I got myself tangled in a rope, and then I just kind of swing the rope around and end up pitching myself up onto the deck.
Perfect.
I do not mention to anybody that I got myself tangled in a rope before this started. Instead, just make it look graceful.
Super, like it looks super with the 3 like successes. It looks super stylish how you land. You really stick the dismount. You like you do like a swing and a flourish and everything. And like little jazz hands as you land. Even
I see that they're both trying to comet, so we're all in the zone with it right now, right?
Yep.
Because
Linessa's above it, but like you get a free drop down on it, essentially.
Sure. So I will sort of just step. My action will be to take the dodge action, and I'll watch both of them. I'd make no aggressive moves. I just kind of get back, and I'm more watching them than I'm watching it.
All right. So the one head seems content with the snack. One of the heads, they're being like sort of cajoled a little bit, but like one of the heads still snaps out, sort of like in a violent thrash. And I'm just gonna go D4 here. Linessa, one of it just like sort of snaps up at you, like towards your like leg.
It's happening. It's happening.
You guys. So it is great. What is your defense?
Twitter was right.
It's average.
No, Twitter was wrong. If this is where like
Twitter was wrong.
Yeah, Twitter was wrong.
Well, the people who voted on that one were right. I guess I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
That's two.
I voted for me.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean, who would have voted for him besides? Oh, well, I did, but still.
All right.
I think every other member of the party voted for you to die. By the way, Chuck, I just want you to know that.
5 of the votes.
I voted for myself as well. It's fine. We all voted for me.
We're pragmatic around here.
I couldn't vote on my own. So that is 5 successes. You do not have armor.
No, he should have light armor.
1 armor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, light armor.
Okay, cool. And
Yeah.
this is. So that'd be. You take 1, 2, 3, 4. You take 6 damage to your toughness. As it just kind of snaps.
Ooh,
I have 1 left.
Okay.
big biter.
I love how gleeful you are. Initiative refreshes. It like. You'll be happy to know that the other head doesn't think that you're tastier, though, so it's not like 2 heads kind of swivel and like go at you.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Noonish.
Yep.
I got a plan. I got a good plan.
Roll for your initiative now, again, everybody.
Feargrim.
Whoa.
Another 7.
Lanissa. What was it?
10.
Fjormar.
Also 10.
And I am on a 9.
I was really pleased with the 7 that this Hydra got, but okay, party.
I got a D6 plus 4. It can be 5 to 10.
Yeah, I got +5.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, your initiative is better than mine, certainly.
I believe Lanissa and Fjormar are.
Yeah, you all go first. Party decides.
Can I try this thing before you kill it, Vanessa?
You assume I'm going to attack it, but yeah, go. You can go first. Yes, please.
I didn't know how mad you got when stuff snaps at you. It's
We'll see.
I don't think it's a good
No,
idea.
no.
Like in a vacuum.
Not just snap.
Okay, that wasn't.
It was a maim.
Yeah,
It maimed her.
That was a brutal.
It went for your leg. With the amount of damage, it basically caught like the just the meat of your like quad and just tore all the way down, right? Like, you're not like it didn't hit the femoral artery, so you're not, or the it didn't hit the artery, so you're not like bleeding out.
Femoral is right.
You'll be fine. Sigmar will protect you. Relax.
He's got the light, whatever.
All right. But yeah,
So
big winner.
I use metal, and I'm going to continue my beast handling, and give a ration to all the heads that didn't attack.
Okay.
and a what do you call it? An educational wrap on the one that did.
Okay.
So here we have the reward structure form. I'm still doing the beast handling as well.
All right. Roll sort of refresh the beast handling.
It might be too much even with metal. I don't know.
No. This is perfect. But I want one beast handling check with advantage. So
I suppose it could also be a way that I'm describing how I'm beast handling in another way. I suppose.
Yeah. So you've gone down to like the panic. You guys between you and Feargrim, you've kind of cured that panicked state. So now you're doing so with advantage on account of like sort of doubling up there. So these are DN 3s.
3s. Oh, then 3 successes.
All 3 of the heads seem super pleased with their treats. And the other head that gets the correctional bop gets the message. It seems upset that it didn't get the treat and like kind of lowers its head. Like looking enviously and
how many rations did I just spend? How many heads does this thing have?
Well, there's 5 heads, but like one is like kind of like busy.
You have to give one to the dwarf head.
One's already
eating the dwarf.
Yeah.
I'm snacking.
It's gonna be hard to like get the dwarf away. Like that becomes the dog with like it's gonna do the.
Yeah, I don't want to go for it. Sorry, bro. But, all right, so minus 3 rations from the inventory here.
Yeah.
I'm down to 36 days of rations.
But no, like all 4 of them seem to be responding. Lanissa.
From what you know about my background and what just happened by the thing that just caused it, I would like to probably have to have a determination test to not blindly start swinging at this thing.
Do you actually have the rage feature or like the blood?
Blood frenzy.
In which case, you will have to roll a determination, I think.
What would my check be based upon the history of my character?
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's default because you have multiple factors. I think that your kinship with your party is fighting back some of what would be a disadvantage.
Okay. No, the soulbound thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
2 successes.
You grip both blades like firmly in hand, and like you're even like digging your like sort of thumbnails into your palms, like or rather you're digging your like pinky and ring nail into your palms. Like the whole party can see you like visibly fighting with this like primal urge. Like it's obvious because it has to be for you to like this is the count to 10. This is the witch elf count to 10, which I think is just like release 10 drops of blood from your palms. Like it's the equivalent in witch elf. I'm just like the party sees you.
Witch elf count to 10 is like count to 18.
But you manage to like restrain yourself from like immediately lashing out. I'm gonna say that like trying to compose yourself. I mean, you can move or do something else if you wanted to like move out of like the thread or. You'll move.
Spend my action. I'll spend my action stabbing the mast furiously with my dagger.
God! She just
going
wheels
at it.
All right, she just wheels
somewhere
around.
as someone that screams.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you said mast. I thought you were gonna say cultist.
Like
that's later.
Like just turn around and start attacking.
She just she steps into a shadow, steps out of a shadow, and just like currently murdering like cultists. All right. Yeah. Who's up next?
Myself on a 9.
Okay.
I will hold my for my action. I will hold my holy symbol high, and I will chant to the God King to give us healing in this time of need for poor Lanissa. Technically, everybody's affected by this, but Lanissa will be as well.
Wait, everyone's affected? It's AoE?
Yeah, when I heal everybody.
You're gonna heal that dwarf.
Does it heal the poor dwarf?
Does this heal the dwarf?
No. I could if I want to extend his stuff.
I heal the dwarf.
Yes. Do it. Do it.
Yes, I do have that capability. If that's what you're asking, I can heal the dwarf as well. Is he still alive?
Yeah. Look, they're a tough chew.
All right, I'll heal him too.
I mean, he would have. The
Hydra
Hydra hasn't gone again to kill him, So he's just like, I'm having a really bad day, and he's just like up and down. Okay.
Okay, I'll heal him as well.
Okay.
All right. So that's 1, 2, 3. I'll spend a medal, so everybody heals 6 toughness in the zone. All the allies that I want. So
Big.
I close all your wounds. And I'll...
6 wounds to chew
Yeah.
on.
He had 10 toughness, so he survived like that sort of initial bite, and then you kind of came into the action, right?
Mhm.
And like he was wounded basically on that sort of second what would have been attack, and now he's like, oh, this is just like the last time. He just.
Well, he heals 6 toughness. I definitely want to keep him alive. I assumed he was already dead, but if he's alive, I definitely heal him.
Yeah.
So, yes, Linissa, you can back out your 6 damage. And I will spend a second medal to take an extra action. That extra action will be to take the dodge action and continue watching them, and I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you, Skig.
Like I
Fugram, I
said.
believe you're up. Oh no, finish your dialogue, please.
That was all.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
thank
Does this thing seem to be getting the idea?
Yeah, it seems to be responding. Even the one that's like currently chewing on the dwarf is just like doing so like sort of disinterested now, like just like, well, like all of the other heads are like paying attention to this like huge ogre thing, and like it's like kind of like got this like lazy munching going on, like, and just like kind of looking
I'll be
back
like,
at
oi! I'll wave some meat in front of the other face. The
one that's like currently chewing a dwarf.
Yes, and I'll like begin tugging on the dwarf and offering the meat. I'll try to make a beast handling.
Beast
check to get
handling,
in.
yep.
Yeah, you're trying to do the old trade like you do with your dog. Yeah,
Yep.
I get it.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And what numbers am I looking for?
4. You guys got it down
3
from
successes.
that heightened state of like crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, like it
4, 5,
totally
and
6. Looks like it's like it's like kind of like chewing on it like sidelong, and then like it looks at this like fresh meat that it doesn't. This dwarf is really tough. Like it's been trying to like chew on it for a while now. It immediately spits him out and like just like just and like hungrily snaps the food and like almost goes for your like fingertips. You're like and you give it like the look, and it's just like it eases the maw back and like. I'm gonna say that combat safely drops.
Yeah, I tell the dwarf, go get the captain.
He's like, he's third time this month, he says, and he like goes back, like heads to the captain's chambers, like pounds on the door, and
Oh, so there's no big twist where the captain is a were-hydra? Okay, that's good.
No, the captain like sleeping underneath the table, like where the map is and stuff like that, in his chambers, like comes out like rubbing sweat from his eyes, like catches his reflection in like a pool of water, and like quick goes like this with his hair, and then it immediately becomes Bowie pristine. Swings the coat around his shoulders, and he steps out onto the deck. Oh, and he walks up. Meryl, Carol, Coral, and Edna. Bad Hydra! Bad Hydra! and he points.
I look at him and I'm like, that's only 4.
It was Meryl, Carol, Coral, Edna. Oh, you're right.
Edna.
Oh man.
And Sally.
I look very confused.
And Sally.
I look very confused.
I thought really
at the
long and
captain.
hard
I'm
about
like,
these names. I've ruined my whole joke. And Sally. Bad Hydra. And then like all their heads like lower, and he like points subdeck, and it like slithers back under. Well, now how'd she get out? Or now how'd they get out? He says. One moment, he says. I'm sure you have some questions. And he like goes under, like he goes a subdeck, and
No.
good to see you're all right, Rodrin. He says, and like that's why they call me Jerky. He says. hard to get down.
If he's actually still wounded,
Well,
I will heal him the rest
He
of the way.
is still wounded. He's like bleeding really bad.
I mean,
I walk
there
over.
are reasons for having
He's
that
a-
name. I'll
he's
pat
a-
him on the back.
Yeah, he's a dwarf, so he acts tough, but like he's just like, I just need to catch my breath, and then I'll go back to tying them knots. And he's just
I
like
heal him.
bleeding onto the floor. Okay, yeah, he's fine.
I heal him the rest of the way.
Yep. All right. Moments later, Avindr comes back up. He's taken the wheel. He has since taken the wheel for who you now know as Rordrin, which is the dwarf. And why don't you go get some shut eye? He says, and sleep in my chambers. And he hands him a circle of keys, and Rordrin escapes underneath the captain's into the captain's quarters. So that was peculiar, he says. Never had a Hydra escape. He's like, there was that one. That was a different ship entirely.
I mean, we can go take a look if you want. Somebody might have let him out.
Yeah, let's investigate. We heard strange noises below, which woke us up, crashing and the like.
He nods. Probably for the best. With our helmsman resting, I'm afraid I gotta stay with the ship. You don't want us running aground or hitting any unforeseen circumstances. I suppose I could wake the crew, but none of them are as skilled pilots as me in the sea. He's like, it's up to you.
Through some gritted teeth, I tell the party as I stop stabbing the mast. I'll keep the captain company up here. You go on ahead down.
Okay.
All right, but remember what he said about who can pilot.
Noted.
Not many can pilot the Devil Cashmere, he says, and he affectionately refers to the ship by its name for the first time.
Feargrim,
Yeah.
you coming with us?
Let's go investigate.
Sure.
We go back to the hole in the deck and I guess just jump back down to where it originated from.
Yeah.
All right.
Specifically looking around for signs of, cut. Oh, actually, I don't know whatever box or cage this thing was in. But
Initially, Avindr seems to be a little but the Hydra's out of the bag at this point, so he's like, all right, sub deck. He's like, there's a couple compartments you might want to be wary of. He says, I want to go poking around it with anything that looks locked, but. Yeah, in the sub deck. Yeah, appreciate if you investigate it. So you head down to like the sort of the sub deck, where the Hydra actually kind of came from initially, is sort of it's sort of like hiding in plain sight type thing where you've got like sort of the base cargo, sort of like a grate. Where like where you can see like little bits of other cargo, but then once you get back there, like most things are like false, like just sort of like half bits of cargo, and then on the other side it's just the sort of like other room about the size of like the crew quarters, but more scrunched in. You see the great cage at the sort of like in the middle of it, that the Hydra is now like just hanging out, like snacking on like the rations and like snacking on the rations that you gave it still, and it's got like the like half the bone from like the hunk of meat that you gave it, and it's like just they're fighting over the bone and stuff, and they see you and seem pretty content. The cage is like open and not secured at this point, but now you're gonna go ahead and investigate you're gonna go ahead and investigate. I think it's just awareness is the investigation as well. Yeah. So you're going to go ahead and investigate. Go ahead.
Just an awareness, then?
Yeah, just an awareness mind. You can also roll an intuition mind separate from that. Keep them separate. Don't tell me the results just yet while I kind of fill in the room. So you've got this cage at the center. This is the grandest one. It basically goes ceiling to the base. The lock obviously the door is like obviously unhinged. It's just kind of like moving with the natural motion of the sea right now. There's actually a number of other small cages with various exotic animals in them, kind of all throughout. There's a small menagerie here. of various animals. All of them like various jungle animals.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
there's no like illicit like goods beyond just the animals themselves.
Okay.
Probably about half a dozen or so various like Axian big cat type things, like primate type things, and so on and so forth. With the Hydra certainly being the feature creature.
All right. And you want these rolls?
Mm-hmm.
For
Are
intuition,
we looking at fours?
what was that?
Yep, force.
Is it fours?
Yep.
For intuition, I got 2,
Okay.
and for awareness, I got 0.
Okay.
So I hope you guys rolled well on awareness.
For me, I got awareness 3, intuition 2.
I got one of each.
All of y'all with your intuition, you get the distinct sense that danger has not passed. Like this prevailing sense that you have walked into the mouth of the beast. Like this, whatever's going on, like it's not over. It's apparent. That
So maybe
intuition.
it's a good thing that we left one back with the captain.
Um, and as you begin to sort of like look at the chain that had the cage shot, you kind of like begin to inspect the other cages and seek about the room. We're going to go ahead and cut to Lanissa. We cut to like Avindr, alleged Captain Avindr Raal. Like he's got his hand up on the wheel steering with one hand, like looking out, and he's like, "Hallowheart," he says, pointing at you. Yeah, the little little place in the corner there. He's like says to Lanissa. No, I didn't hear you.
Yep. Never been to Hallowheart.
No, he's like, do you have a sister? And like he's just like he's not even like looking at the ocean anymore. Like it's got to be a sister.
No. No sisters. No blood sisters. Unless you count the ones that bathe in blood.
I pride myself on being able to identify the various fineries of all of our great lineage, he says, and why does it escape me?
Why do you have a Hydra on board? And why didn't you tell us?
Well, I figured I'd have you at your destination without anything running afoul, and that they'd be free by now, he says.
I'm sorry?
That they'd be free by now, or not by now, but before you were wares to them, that they'd be free.
Free as in how?
As in where they belong, he says, where I'm going.
Where is your destination?
He mentioned he's like a little jungle off the. He's like a small patch of jungle. Doesn't much untouched by chaos and isn't much of much interest to the denizens of Anvilgard. Right off the Charwin coast by about a day, he says, or right off of that island on the Charwin coast by about a day.
I'd like to slowly walk up behind him and try and take off his jacket slowly, carefully.
He puts the hand on the shoulder. I don't steer as well without my coat, he says.
I don't give him an option. I would like to out finesse him, out.
Okay, so
Drink him.
all right, fine. Then we'll go out with a dexterity off. So this will be opposed. You just need to get the most successes. This will be a DN5 on account of
2 successes.
You find yourself in a small tug of war and at a stalemate. he upon like this new dynamic, he takes a step back. You're still like doing this sort of like this odd tango of an interaction. He kind of takes a step back and spirals away, snaps his fingers, and like while still kind of like one hand over here, you kind of have your hands like entwined up on his shoulder. He takes a step back and like snaps and points at you, and he says, "I got it." He says,
Got what?
"Oh my God, did I not name her?" Shit. I'm on your character page right now. You never gave me your mom's name, did you?
No,
Okay.
I don't know it.
All right.
He says the name.
No, give me a moment.
It was
She's like,
obviously
sorry, I don't know who that is.
it was obviously Martha.
No. Yeah, it's Martha. Yeah. Martha. Yeah.
This is not Karen.
No, it's an elven version, so like Martheria.
Mm-hmm.
Marthellus. Marthelia.
There we go, Marthelia. We got it.
Yeah, there we go.
We
Marthelia.
arrived there, chat.
There we go. Perfect. Marthelia, he says.
And who, by Cain's bloody blade, is that?
Pirate of... You're not her, he says. She's in the trade. Do you maintain this, like, weird tango tug-of-war thing with his coat?
Oh, yeah. We're not stopping this dance.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a Jackie Chan fight.
All right. He's like, she's in the trade, as it were. Has some small of vast repute. Some call her queen on these seas. She looks just like you, I swear. Maybe a little older. Hard to tell with our kind.
Like to take a firmer grip on him and get real close with my contortion.
And we're going to go ahead and cut sub-deck. Skig.
Yep.
You become painfully aware of a familiar feeling, though you're used to being on the other side of this one. Your particularly acute senses, your Skaven senses / training kick in as you become aware of you're not alone sort of ambush going on. Go ahead and whirl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can't be caught unawares, as I recall, because you're particularly
That is correct.
challenged.
I cannot be surprised. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, so you're in this all too familiar, like you're looking around and time almost seems to slow down as you catch the little flitting eyes from the corners of the room, and even ambushing from spots and angles where there isn't a landing or a place to exist, as if ripping through the warp itself or through reality itself. You've got but a moment to alert your party before chaos reigns.
Yeah, I go, and I grab my, and then I grab my holy symbol and step back and put my back to something solid, like the cage or something.
Okay.
Not the open door of the cage, to be absolutely clear.
Y'all see him react and roll for initiative.
All right. I take it. Should we roll for, like, is Lanissa rolling this as well? Will she be able to hear this?
Yeah, so when Lanissa's going to roll for initiative, and we're going to cut to Lanissa on her initiative.
Okay, got it. All right. So, Feargrim.
10.
Lanissa.
4.
Oof. Big winner.
How can you get a 4 if you add?
Oh, sorry. It's a 6. I rolled a 1. I don't know why I did down.
Okay.
It's a 6. Sorry.
That makes more sense.
Well, yeah.
Big winner.
I got a 5.
I am also on a 10. Bad guy.
8.
Demon things.
8.
Oh boy, they're fast. Okay. Have they manifested yet? Whatever's coming in from the Chaos Realm.
Yeah, there are some physically in the room, and like the ones that are attacking from like the shadows. It's a very it's an old, ancient Eshin secret, really.
Sure. So what do we see of them?
I mean, you know that there's Skaven about.
Okay.
The party. What's your? I guess I need to know everyone's passive awareness.
My natural
What does
awareness
that
is
mean?
only one. It's
Yeah.
your natural awareness.
Yeah.
It should be on your sheet. Yeah, it's probably 1 or 2.
2.
Big Winter being called, having his attention called to it. We have 2 2s in the party.
We have 2 2s down here in the party. Yes.
Okay. The 2s you can make out like various like rat men, like kind of like hiding behind cages, like up in the rafters up above. The sort of like ancient Eshin secret ones that nobody sees. They're just gonna do their thing. But there's about, I mean, you're well outnumbered. Probably like twice of them as there is you. Specifically, there's 6.
Sure. All clad in black, standard like gutter runner type.
Yeah, they're wielding a poison dagger in the tail and two like standard daggers in like each hand, clad in black. And just completely surrounding. You're all in one zone. It's but one zone.
Yep.
Oh right, the Hydra goes at a 6.
Oh, okay.
Avindr is just going on your initiative with your, because you're
Okay,
having a
right.
conversation essentially.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I mean, Virgrim, you're first. I mean, I guess because I'll let you go before me. We're both on 10.
I'm gonna go ahead and use the restroom real quick. That gives you some time to contemplate this ambush and stuff like that. Maybe coordinate.
Sure.
I'm glad he rolled initiative for the Hydra because that was definitely my plan.
Yeah.
Sick 'em.
Hydra's going to equalize that.
I hope I've built enough of a rapport to command it.
You still have 36 rations?
I still have 36 rations.
Hey, more training.
Yeah, I definitely put a point in beast handling because I couldn't in character creation, but I got just enough XP to kind of bump that up.
Yeah, it's funny. Like the first bout of experience was honestly like, oh, now my character's really made.
Yeah.
Right? It was like hitting a couple of things that I just didn't have the points for, but that I saw as like, oh, my character would absolutely have this. It makes me think like when I start these games, I might honestly start most people at like just a slightly higher amount of XP. Right?
Yeah, because I'm not like.
Or what you do, you give them bonus.
What was it?
Or the other option would be that you give them bonus, like a bonus suite of talents and or skills that would be appropriate to their story.
Relevant
or
to their
race.
story, sure. Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because as I was saying, I'm not.
You like carve out like a little package.
Yeah.
It was odd getting the experience and not immediately going to talents. I was just looking at my training and focus. Like, this is what I want to increase right now. This is what I want to finish making Lanissa.
Yeah, I mean, it's really funny. My primary thing I want to do is just like, oh, I want different other skills. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have enough other skills I want at this point.
I just put my soul up. Like, I just dumped it so that like I'm finally 3s across the board.
Gotcha.
So it just gives me like dice dominance. It gives me dice dominance on all skills.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
as all things should be.
If you get to if you're on an even 3s, then your incentive is to invest in focus and not a training. Right. You're much better off putting your first point into focus because it makes a much bigger deal.
Yeah, I realize now that I'm the dumbest person in the party with a mind of 1.
Oh, don't worry, my mind is 1 as well.
Chuck.
Oh, it is? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We're good.
Skig's
I
not
bumped that up.
smart. He's a soul man.
Chuck, your mother's name is Pyrotest Blood Parch.
Oh, we got Record of Lotus War in
Yo,
here?
Record of Lotus War. There is
cool.
but one dark elf name. Come on.
Pyrotest what?
Blood Parch. Literally Captain Blood Parch. Like.
Okay.
So he would have said Pyrotest. Pyrotest?
Does she work for like a super sweet, awesome looking Black Knight dude who wears like the coolest armor and stands on the battlements of burning castle cities?
Didn't I just describe a super sweet dude in black armor? Right?
Yeah, sure. No, that's a fair point.
Oh,
True.
oh.
It's legit.
All right, well, that's what's
Okay.
in my head now for that guy. I'm sorry.
This isn't ripoff. This is bona fide hero worship.
Fine. Mirgo.
I will quickly trace a rune of immolation in the air
Woo.
and cast incandescent form.
Okay. What do?
It fires off with 2 successes, which means that it'll go off as standard. And it like my runes flare up, and a sheet of like my skin becomes like molten magma rock, blinding my enemies.
Okay. Does it burn objects?
No,
Okay. Okay. All
no, it does not.
All right.
I'm super careful. No, but it blinds it like it toughens me and blinds people attacking me, so it reduces their accuracy in melee.
Oh, cool.
Specifically, he gets +2 armor, and if you use your melee or accuracy against him, it's decreased by
They go
1
down a
step.
step.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Spigot. The difference between ripoff and homage is whether you like it or not.
Sure.
It's legitimate. And then
Yep.
I will begin all metal and begin singing a bold ballad of battle.
Nice. A bold
And
ballad of battle.
A bold ballad of battle. And let's see if anybody's bolted. Yes. So anybody that starts in my zone that's an ally gets +1 damage.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Rock on.
You're welcome.
Me next on a 10.
Okay.
I will, as I said, so I adjust to put my back against. I'll actually sort of put my back against the safest part of the cage I can. Like, in other words, not near the door, around the other side where the Hydra wouldn't try to get out or snap at me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the Hydra's cage is kind of at the center of the room.
Yep.
And you just kind of
Which
move
I
to like
assume is
the
where
outside.
we were.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
just kind of move towards the perimeter.
Yes. I basically move around one side so my back is to a bar or a set of bars, however thick they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I will take the dodge action and like try to keep an eye on all the gutter runners who I know are coming.
So you take the dodge action. All right.
Yep, that's me. That is my action. That goes to the bad guys. They're next.
All right. So as I said, 6 gutter runners. They seem to outnumber you by 2. The 2 that were sort of like mid like freaking warp gnawing in essentially, ancient Eshin secret. Those ones basically. I'm sorry, they attack the biggest target. They just like leap in from like just the folds between reality. You actually hear this pop and see this tearing spiral of like warp energy as they just like come through and stab you with a puff of smoke and everything.
All right, my
Are
defense.
they doing the ogre or the incandescent dwarf?
The ogre. These 2 were already. Their targets were already acquired because they would have been sneak attacking you guys. But you have a Skaven whose like whole special ability is like knowing exactly this. So.
Right, my defense is good.
All right. They're on force. I hate. Wow, these dice are the worst. You get tagged for 5. Would be just straight damage. Their damage is just their successes.
Is this just 5 as a big clump? Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's 2. It's it's just 5 as a big. Well, I guess it's 5 from the initial one. You will have to make a save from the poison tail dagger that as it stabs.
I think
you.
the question he's asking is his armor applying once or twice?
His armor applies.
If it's 2 hits.
Well, it's dual wield doesn't specify if you take armor off of both stabs. I believe you only take it off of one because it's just a pool of attacks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not 2 guys. Is the
It's
point
the
you're
one
making.
guy stabbing with two
Yeah,
daggers.
If it was 2 guys, I could see armor both, but for dual wielding, probably not. All right,
Yeah.
so I'll take 3 in that case.
Yeah, and then you need to make a fortitude, which you have advantage on because you're an iron gut. which means you're making this save at 2s because it's a benign poison.
I'm making a fortitude at 2s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would be 3s for the rest of the party.
Well, I managed to fail one, but I got 3 successes.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. Don't worry about it. The other one then. Law of averages it and hits but twice. So I believe your armor soaks that.
Yeah, armor 2.
Yep. So those two, Skig.
Yep.
You find you've caught the attention of 3 of them, as if you might maybe you just lock eyes, and you just hear one of them like mutter "traitor."
Sure.
And
That's
then
why we took the dodge action.
yeah, and 3 of them close in on you. So what's the dodge action do? You've been doing it a lot.
My defense is extraordinary.
So on
So
6s.
they will need 6s.
So
Yes,
on
that
6s.
is correct.
Got it. All right.
Nice.
Yep. Okay.
Sigmar protects.
Nope. And 1. Wait. hang
My
on.
armor. Sure. Oh, sure.
And 1 from the other. So your armor protects you from like
Yeah.
the 2 that manage to get in there with their daggers and then kind of like clank off.
Cool.
And then that leaves the final 3 on you, Fugrim.
Mm-hmm.
What's your
Superb.
superb?
Wait, isn't that
Superb.
you mean final one,
I'm
right?
Superb.
6. It's
You said
3, 3, and then
3,
there were
2.
2 that you didn't know were there yet. It's 8
Okay,
total.
got it.
Uh,
8 total. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's 8. It's 8 total. You
There's
saw
always
6
more
of them.
good. There's always more ninjas. I got it. Just
Yeah.
making sure.
Yeah, I gave you the main 6 to like do, but the 2 that were mid doing their special trick.
Superb. And armor 4.
Okay, so are your armor negates? Nothing hits at all. Nothing hits at all. Okay, cool. They just clank off of this like shimmering, amazing like beacon of skin.
I'm lava.
I'm lava. All right. Are we up top here? No.
No, that was bad guys. So yeah, up top deck. Yes.
Alright.
So I need to go help my wife with something real quick. So it's Lanissa, and then the Hydra, and then Fjormar. If you don't, I don't know if you wrote down the initiative or not, but there you go.
No, I didn't.
That's no problem. I got it. Lanissa, Hydra, Fjormar.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right, cool. Lanissa, you're up top. You're kind of like mid conversation. He says like, Captain Pyrotess?
And as I take a firmer grip and get in real close, what did you just say?
Captain Bloodparch?
Now that's a name. Who, where? I release and step back. Who is this blood?
It's like, as I said before, she's kind of a big deal on these seas. Some call her Queen Pyrotess.
Where would she be?
A professional Queen Pyrotess? he really tries to maintain his like bad guys that he's a pirate. Even now.
I would actually like to try and intimidate to let him know I'm not playing games here. I want to know who this woman is and where I can find her.
You don't need to roll. He gets your intent. He's like, I feel like we're having a trouble communicating here. He says, and then like we go back below deck. You can go ahead and roll your dice though. A single 4?
2 6s, a 5, and a 4. I assume that was on 4s.
Okay. And then down below the Hydra goes. You're not surprised to find that the Hydra chomps just 2 Skaven, just pretty much right out the air. Just, no problem. Just 2 gone.
Yeah, when you left, I was saying I'm glad you rolled the Hydra's initiative because I was just going to say sick 'em and try to do a beast handling sort of attack. But I guess it would naturally attack here, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And then Big Water, you're up. Like they're gone. This is not the dwarf who's like kind of no. They're like just torn out the air, like swallowed whole. Old school D&D.
All right, I'm going to attack the first one. I'm going to attack the one that successfully dealt damage to me.
They're on a ship, being ambushed. There's some stuff going on.
My melee is good. What's the defense on the Skaven?
Poor. You should be
Poor,
on
which
3s.
means I'm on. Is poor right under good, or is average? Oh no, there's average. So I'm on 2s.
Yeah, 2s.
All right. So it's like 8 damage after his battle cry thing.
What's your weapon?
It's a pike.
you just Iwo Jima it. You're like raising them.
No, I didn't get any 6s, so there's no armor piercing or anything.
You basically skewer it, like on the pike, and it's toast, man.
All right, I'm gonna metal, try to skewer the other one.
You have to move some, but you're all within one zone. So like all 3 like around you would have been taken care of because the Hydra chomped 2 of them.
So
you managed.
we're out of things to stab.
Yeah, so you can move over to either support Skig or support the glowing lava dwarf.
Neither of them look to need any help whatsoever, but the dwarf will eventually kill his. Skaven won't. He just won't be damaged because the Light of Sigmar protects. So I'll attack Skigs.
Okay. All right. So you metal, move over, and pew.
Is this one of the super ones? So it's better at defense?
Yes. This one has good defense.
All right. So what am I looking for?
If you're good to good, you're looking
fours.
for 4s.
Okay. So I got 2 1s. Those are out. All right. I got 2 6s. So it's armor piercing 2.
Okay.
And I got 4 successes. So 4, 5, 6, 7 because of the battle chant. So 7, and it ignores 2 of the armor.
Pew. You spit the other one on your pike. Like it just like Skig just sees the spike come out its chest as it's like kind of like mid like being like shadowy and stuff, and then its body completely forms again, and it's like
in this contest between the good Skaven and the bad Skaven, like skewer the bad one. Should have worshipped Sigmar.
So it goes initiative refreshes. We'll go ahead and roll dice again. My Hydra gets a 5, and my Skaven gets 7s.
Okay. Feargrim.
8.
Okay. Lanissa? What was it?
It sounded like
I think
8.
you said
10.
10. You're really quiet all of a sudden. I think it's because your mic doesn't pick you up until you need to talk for a second, and then it picks you up, I think.
Yeah.
Push to talk, but I had my character sheet selected, so it wasn't actually triggering it, even though it said it was.
Okay.
Okay. I got you on a 10. Big winner.
3 and 4, 7.
Okay. And I am also on a 10. So why don't we start with Lanissa, who's on the 10 and in a different place?
Yeah, I want to see. We were left on a cliffhanger there.
I love it. We calmed the Hydra and befriended it. I love my party.
It's our buddy now.
Yo,
Yeah,
I
we got
understand very well the use of taming beasts.
Yeah, I'm excited that came up. I mean, I love when skills like that come into play. It's amazing.
Love it.
Okay, Lanissa.
Do I hear any of the noise below going, or is it too quiet and too quick?
I'd say you can.
I mean,
Like
they
this isn't
scream
like
all the time.
this isn't a Hydra smashing through stuff. This is like essentially 3 decks below, because like the captain where the captain pilot's from is like kind of like half a deck up, right? So you're talking all the way down over the roar of the ocean and a heated conversation. I don't think you hear them fighting. It's just the
That's
standard
fine.
clanging and pinging of swords. You know, like
Okay, yeah. I trust the team to get that.
So you left off on kind of like a trailing a question in the conversation. It
I
was
want to
about-
know.
Yeah.
I want to know where I can find this queen of yours.
Oh, I don't. Do not mistake me. Do not mistake me. She's not my queen. I said some call her queen. He's like, she disappeared a while back. There's still a lot that fear her and talk about her. We'll just say her legend's grown. I wish I could tell you where, but I mean, I honestly don't know. People in my profession try to make a good habit of not letting their whereabouts be known. You have to understand. He's like, I could ask around, and he's like holding his arms up.
Do I can I see if like is he bluffing at all, or does it
You
seem
can,
like he's
you
genuinely
yeah
trying
you
to
can you can roll an
No.
you can roll an intuition. This is like get that gut feeling, intuition, mind.
I rolled a 6. My one die.
With your one die.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't seem scared of you, by the way, but he does seem sincere.
I kind of back down. I
We'll
could
cut.
use your help finding this woman.
All right, I can use your help finding this woman, and then we cut below deck. Who goes next?
Myself, I am on a 10. So, did Big Winter skewer both of the ones that attacked him, or just one of them?
So two by him got eaten. He killed
Oh.
one, meddled, and killed one by you. So you have one of the like the actual Eshin ones, as opposed to just like the standard Skaven. But you have like one of the actual like full on ninja rats, right?
Yeah.
And then there's basically like 3 other rats left.
Okay, gotcha. I will. And Big Winter did get injured, right?
I'll deal with the rest of mine.
Sure.
He's calm.
I have no doubt, Lava Man. But Big Winter did get injured, right? I see
Yeah,
him bleeding a little bit.
I took 3 damage. Yeah.
I will take the dodge action. I will meddle, and I will hold my holy symbol of light from behind the shield so that the blinding radiance of Sigmar can be shown not only to these heretics, to these rats who have not yet found the light, but also to heal the wounds of those who would follow the God King's will.
Metal.
How injured are you? How much damage have you taken?
I've taken 3.
Okay. I'll spend my other metal then and make it heal 5. So, did the Hydra get injured at all?
Nah, it's good.
All of us heal 5, and I'm done. I have completed my actions.
Cool. All right. Next up.
That brings us to Feargrim on an 8.
You said that their defenses were poor. Is that correct on the standard rat?
The regular ones are poor. The special ones are good.
Yeah, I'm not near the special ones.
Yep.
So I will. I'll drop my. I'm at average normal. So I will drop my defense. I'll use my battle rager to drop my defense by 1 and up my my combat by 1,
Oh,
pushing me to 2s against them.
combos. I love it. So you're still like a glowing magma dwarf who's like just started to rage.
That's fading.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's faded.
Okay.
I was just trying to get attention. I was trying to pull them to me. That's my taunt.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm looking for 2. So on the first one, 4 successes. So 5 damage.
On one of the regular ones, that's enough to like just kind of like smack it in its chest, and you can like feel the sort of like it go lighter under the hammer as like you certainly crack through its mass and it crumples to the ground.
Awesome. I'll metal and do it again.
Okay.
4 more, so 5 more damage.
How much? 4?
5.
Oh, 5. Yeah.
4 plus
Boom.
1.
Take that one out too. Just 1, 2, like a good old.
And I'll burn my last metal and do it again.
All the metal. You have 2 metal.
I do because I have a 3 soul.
All right.
That's what I just upgraded. That one I do get 2. I get 1, so I only have 4 damage on that attack.
That one seems to barely like you. Same thing where you like crack into its chest, but like there's just a little give left in it.
Happens every time.
Who up next?
That would bring us to Big Winter.
There's a fancy Skaven, and then the not so fancy Skaven left.
I attack the one next to Skig. Like, the dwarf will kill his eventually.
Yep.
We're gonna leave for the Hydra.
Yeah.
Gotta keep him fed.
I mean, that's where I'm throwing him when deserves a treat. All right, so I attack the one next to Skig. That's one of the good ones, so I'm on 4s.
Yep.
I have, but oh wait, I actually get pluses, don't I?
Yeah, don't forget your focus if you have it.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that. All right, in which case I have 3 successes, but no sixes. And so is your like battle aura still happening?
Yes.
Okay, in which case
There's no duration on it.
Oh, awesome. So 6 damage, no piercing.
6 damage, no piercing. All right. Pew. Like you managed to spit it upon your pike. Seems pretty toast.
Okay, that brings us to the remaining rats.
Oh, just a Hydra eats it. like just like it leaps up into the air and it's lunging, like it kind of abandons the glowy dwarf and it looks over at you and it's like, die, traitor scum, and it like and just like gets ripped out the air by the Hydra. It's over.
Sure. Classic.
Yeah. And like it throws, like the one head throws it up and the other head catches it and then just like, and it like looks like a dumb like pug with its like just like head and super happy and it's like bobbing about and it's like suddenly it's got like slightly jowlier serpent head.
Yeah, good girl. Give it a pat.
Yeah.
Offer it a Skaven that's like still on the pike.
Yeah, 2 of them fight, like pull the Skaven apart and it's like taffy now and they're just like, How does Skig feel watching just all of these Skaven get eaten?
It doesn't bother him.
Yeah, okay, just checking.
I'm not trying to be rude. It just doesn't occur to me.
Most of Skig's life has been watching Skaven get killed.
It's true.
Yeah,
Even when he was loyal, that's a part of life. You don't get to be a Stormvermin without standing on a pile of bodies. The higher you are in the Skaven rank, the bigger the pile of bodies you stand on.
Yeah.
Even Skaven meets Skaven.
Yeah.
All right. We can cut back up top. You need to find her. What is she to you? Your sister?
Not ready to. Not quite sure I'm ready to say that yet until I see her, but I need to find her.
I'm not in the business of asking why, but if you'll indulge me a bit, why? Usually professionals with reputations like that, you don't go looking for them, he says.
Unbelievable!
Unbelievable. Thank you so much for that follow there, Fattlestar.
Well, you see, that's probably my mother.
He just like kind of like looks distant for a moment. He's like kind of looking past you, and this is the first time that the facade of like the goofy captain who doesn't know what he's doing like drops for like just an instant. And for just an instant, he goes, "I'm sorry." And then like he like looks back up at you. It's about this time that the party's probably.
Was there a head remaining?
Oh, there's
from
like
the Skaven corpses?
Oh, there's like, I mean, the Hydra hasn't eaten them all yet. It's just had like like they're.
I'll grab one.
This is the most
I'll
well-fed
grab one when
Hydra
we go.
of the like. This Hydra has feasted. It's had extra meals.
Yeah, no worries.
I
So when we
do
go to the
need.
captain, I'm gonna take one of the.
Okay, I do want to note real quick. None of the animals in his like care look like currently malnourished. Some look like they might be like formerly malnourished, but they've had a good meal recently, so they're like a little bloaty. But none of them look like he's like neglecting them.
All right, so Hydra King doesn't mistreat his Hydras. Got it.
Good. I'm gonna take one of the gutter runners.
Dude.
And when we go in to the captain, I'm gonna Okay, I'll like throw open the door as we walk in. I'll throw the rat on the ground and be like, "You got a rat problem."
+1 XP. Go ahead and write that right here. +1 XP. Lanessa, you have some time to kind of like wrap up the conversation before they get back up, though. So
I walk up to him. Walk up to him, and I reach into the little tiny pouch on my hip, and I give him my own personal 50D.
Unfortunate abbreviation.
Find her for me, and tell me where she's at. That's all I need.
You've overpaid me, I'm afraid, he says, and like he just closes your hand. This is the second time you. Well, I guess he hasn't like regained his facade, like since the like last sort of moment. And he's like, "You've overpaid me," he says, and he just closes your hand around your around like the sort of like vials you're holding out of the drops.
Then what? Will you help me?
He's like, "I wouldn't say help." He turns around, like puts a hand up on the wheel, and he's like, "It would be really bad for a pirate to go against the queen," he says. "Luckily, I'm a professional." And he just like goes, he has a wry smile. I just
stare at him like intently in silence, like just make I get it. But
the party gets up right in time to see this like awkward like sort of tail end of this exchange. He is like his coat, which would have been ripped off in the weird Jackie Chan like dialogue boss fight that was going on. Like he has like now just like the one thumb, over the like holding the coat over the shoulder and like steering with the hand.
And I roll up in there, and I'm like, "Hey, we killed a bunch of Skaven."
No, the rat problem.
I look at Skig. They were bad ones.
They were.
It's preceded by the like, "You have a rat problem," and then he's like,
"Oh, never mind. That's right. Yeah, he had the better one." So he says that.
It's fine. They were assassins that had come to kill me. It happens sometimes.
"Wait, Skaven? I just sprayed for Skaven," he says.
They're very tricky. They're gutter runners who are hired to follow me or kill me for my faith. They are hard to stop. They can travel between the between. It's like a separate between.
The whole party's like looking at you along with the captain.
You wouldn't know that between.
Not the between you're familiar with.
It's fine.
Huh. But we're fine now, he says.
Yep, they're all dead. They won't send another party for a little while.
He nods. You think they're the ones that released, and he rattles off all the names of the Hydra?
Could be. Trying to get our attention to ambush us. It's possible. A good Skaven employees always have something else do your work for you, if you can. So, they probably thought the Hydra would kill us.
Seems like a good bet. Luckily, she'd eaten recently. He smiles.
Hey.
I figure we're about. He's like, I figure we're about we've been making good time. I was expecting a storm. I figure we're about a days out from your island. Why don't y'all get some shut-eye? If you would like me to move your quarters to mine, he says, I understand.
Sure.
No, we should stay down there, where the heretics are.
I don't care.
All right. He like stomps.
I'm not gonna sleep. I'm just gonna wander around the deck.
All right. He stomps on the floor loudly. Jerky! He shouts. And the like the dwarf shows up in the checkered pants. He's like, "You've the helm." He's like, "I have some thinking to do," and then he closes the door and you immediately hear snoring.
Yeah, thinking.
Deep thinking.
All right. The next sort of day is uneventful. You eat, you feast, unless you want to interact with crew or I mean, the captain's pretty good at maintaining his sort of weird act. His Wooster and Jeeves double act essentially, and you see, it's not long before you see the island. The island actually itself sort of has this jut of a crag or a mountain that just sort of comes out in sort of a hooked shape. This is not abnormal for Akshi, though. To all of y'all, welcome to Soulbound. This is pretty metal. The world is described. Yeah, go ahead.
There's something I would like to do during this day.
Okay.
I would like to approach Big Winter. Big Winter, could you help me with something down below? And essentially,
Yeah.
I want help learning how to be friendly to the Hydra. Because as we get down there, you notice I am very, very much not friendly towards the Hydra. I don't want anything to do with it, but you all seem to like it, so I'm going to try my best to not hate it.
One head in particular, when you walk into the room, just recoils, and cut, just takes up the super defensive stance, and the other, three of them nap, and then the other one's grumpy, but not pure defense, right?
The only thing I would do during this day, by the by, is if any of the cultists are ever alone, if I'm going to watch, I'm kind of always keeping an eye on where they are. And if any of the cultists are ever alone, if one of them is ever off taking a pee off the side of the ship or something, whatever they would have to be doing, I will approach them. If that doesn't happen, I have no other actions.
Okay. Roll a luck check, which we've established. This is my DM rule. It's 2d6.
Okay. I got a 5. A 3 and a 2.
You can see you catch about 2 of them. There's a point where there's 2 of them isolated.
Okay. Nope. 2 of them's no good.
Okay.
I don't do anything.
All right.
So anyway, yeah, I'll respond to Linus.
Okay.
Yeah, he bit you real bad, so I can see it. But that's animals, right? They're simple. It's about your presence.
I don't know how to.
They can detect that.
I don't know how to be calm around it. And I know you
Are
can.
a bit jumpy even at the restful times, so maybe that's just part of what you do. Real useful in fighting and all that, but they can. What your emotions are, kind of their emotions can be. Just keep it in your head. Keep it in your head and your whole body that you're the dominant one. You're calm, so they should be calm. But there's an order. They're the animal. You're the man. Plus, respond real well to simple stuff like hit the one. If it's bad, you hit it. If it's good, you give it food. Simple.
Pull out my dagger. Hit it with this.
This is a educational hit, not a trying to kill him kind of hit.
I turned the dagger around so it's the pommel.
Yeah, that's the stuff. The crunching part. It's like people in a way.
Would you come with me as I try?
Hmm?
Would you come with me as I try to make sure?
Oh yeah, I was basically talking to you in front of the Hydra.
Oh,
but
okay.
Yeah, we'll go there.
Right. I essentially want to try to reach out and pet it.
You try to pet the
Even
Hydra.
I don't have any beast handling, but so I want big winner here.
All right, so beast handling, it still defaults to soul, so you can roll your soul. and I'm going to give you advantage just by the sheer presence of the ogre here, who has.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm like Phantom Beast handling behind him,
Yeah.
like looming. I'm looming. I'm staring.
Oh yeah,
You know,
like this
stuff.
is yeah. You're doing the like
Big
this.
sign. Stay calm.
Yeah. He's like like the gravitas of this like 10-foot ogre whose job is to handle beasts and like track and hunt and stuff. Like is making this like a plausible check essentially. So you do have advantage on this, which means DC DN 3, and you're rolling straight soul.
I'm 2 successes on my looming presence, I guess.
I'm 2 successes on my soul.
Yeah, like they're like mostly like napping at this point. Like they've been like they've just like feasted for like the last 2 days on like Skaven and stuff. And they like all kind of like wake up, and like the one head that was eating the dwarf like just kind of recoils and like doesn't know how to regard you. The sort of like the default 3 are curious but keeping their distance, and the one that bit you like snaps forward real quick but then stops. And you have that moment where you're like you think to go for your daggers, but you're like you've remembered Big Winter's words, and you maintain your composure. And then like it like after the initial sort of snap forward, it kind of like lowers its head.
I do the whole like reach my hand out to pet it, palm open, but and much maybe to Big Winter's surprise, sees a bit of fear. Not a ton, just a bit.
Yeah, there you can. Big Winter picks up on the twinge of like the fear in you, and he gives you a stern like silent look that says, "Don't be afraid," you know, like because he's got his successes in the bank too, and it kind of reassures you, and like you pet it, and it like kind of nuzzles in. It really like does that thing where it starts to self pet at some point, and just kind of coils and moves its head along your hand, and you're like, okay, all right.
Obvious glee washes over me, and I quickly squash it back down to take on my standard witch elf demeanor.
Yeah.
As the 12-year-old girl fleetingly gets buried.
Yeah. It's a pretty heartwarming, touching moment as you have this like. I wish there was another word for humanity than humanity. You know, it's got human in it. It makes it really difficult in fantasy.
Meta humanity? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But you have this like sort of like moment of humanity, this compassion, and this like exchange moment, and it's pretty great. Lanissa will remember this moment.
Creature of the list.
Creechanity.
Sure.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Like walking up the stairs back to a room. It's a shame I'll probably never get to eat that thing. But good show.
I go wide-eyed and just shut up. 'Cause, yeah.
All right. What does Feargrim? You got about a day. Do you do anything in particular?
I talked to Jerky a little bit. I want to learn more about him. He's a fellow dude.
Yeah. He actually just to kind of like for pace, he kind of lets it slip that like the ship ain't all it appears to be, and that it's got a few tricks up its sleeves. But that's all he'll say. Wink, wink.
How long has he been in the life?
Since I was a wee beardling, he says.
Does he have any like? Good.
No, he's like since I was a wee beardling, born to it really. He says, traded the skies for seas at one point and switched them back again, and he smiles.
I look for any identifying marks that would maybe associate him with a particular skyport. Does he have any tattoos or anything like that I might recognize?
Roll a lore.
I can do that. I just need to look and see what it is. What numbers am I looking for?
4s.
3 successes. Missed one.
So there's a particular actually like a particular moving city in Akshi. It's clear that he's associated with that one. Its name eludes me right now. I'll get it to you in the after notes.
The drifting city. I see.
He's like, "Ah, you
I
ever
say
been?
that to him.
Ah, you ever been?"
I've not. I've traveled a bit, but I've not been there.
He's like, "The tech alone's a wonder to behold." He's like, "Fortunately, after a while, he's like, the scenery changes, but the people don't." And he looks distant.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. So he gives you a hint like that, like the captain, the Devil Cashmere ain't all it seems to be.
You seem to have a lot of loyalty towards the captain.
Once you get past the whole act, he's a good man. So very few of his lineage are.
You're willing to be chewed up like jerky.
Third time. He just like shakes his head. It weren't her fault though, he says. That was mine.
You're good to her, slapping on the shoulder and walk off.
He hands you a small waxed closed bottle, like green, sort of like that green dark glass. He's like, "It's my private stock. Drink it only when you need it."
Of course. Is it sealed?
Yeah, it's sealed, and he's like, "My own recipe." So you now have a bottle of...
This one's going on the shelf.
Yeah, you now have Jerky's private stock.
That's
Jerky's
like
private stock.
name. Jerky's private stock.
Noted.
Might have a bit of a kick. So you pass the day sort of like milling about, having your various like conversations and such, and then you see the island within range. It's got this weird sort of like hook of a mountain that comes up out of it and sort of spirals forward like Nightmare Before Christmas. You know, just this wicked, deep, almost unnatural hook, almost like a plume of flame that got froze. You know. And sort of all sort of coalescing about it is this lush like jungle that's just giving off these waves of this fog, this dense steam even, and you can notice sort of like scattered about beyond it more distantly on the horizon these sort of like knuckles of similarly like weird and twisted shapes of these like sort of frozen flame mountains. You notice the familiar double boat, and the sort of surly, elderly, bepatched gentleman lowering it down.
Okay. So it's going to take us 2 trips to get over there, and then I assume it's probably also 2 trips for the 6 cultists, right?
It takes you a trip with the joke and then the cultists, and Avindr is going to be like, he's like, I suppose you like. I can see the gears already turning in your head. So what's your plan here? Because yeah, it'll take you a trip and it'll take the cultists a trip. So you're going to go over separate. Do you want to go first? Or you want to go second? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yes, I think we would all prefer to go first. That way they don't skitter away on us.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. And then just a real quick check-in with the party. Are you good for another hour, or do you want to cut it here?
I'm good for another hour.
Yeah.
I can do it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect. So you get across. You make you like hit the shore. We'll go into that in a bit. Are you gonna like set up an ambush, or are you gonna wait for them to show up? Like, what's the plan?
Oh no, I have no intention of an ambush. I'm just standing there waiting for them to come over.
Yeah, I just want to see what they're doing. I'm not just about to kill them or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to address them as soon as they land. So.
Yeah, philosophically I am, but not like.
and obviously you've more than gained favor with Avindr and stuff like that. You didn't kill his Hydra. You have that sort of moment with him, so his ship is your ship at this point. So like there's no roles involved. You just like choose to go first. You get to go first. We can take a real quick break if anyone needs to use the restroom, grab a drink, and then we'll kind of finish this last leg of the adventure, the third beat,
Great.
the third act. I'll be right back.
So my general plan is I'm just going to address them and say, "Where are you going?" Right? Like that's it. It's just like we're going to follow you. So lead on to where you're going and take us to the rest of these wherever your hideout is. Please take us to the evil cultist hideout. Thank you.
You can't stop the four of us from doing what we want, and that is to follow you.
Right. Like I'm just very straightforward here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I follow a barbarian god. I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah, it's true. I actually forget that he's a barbarian god sometimes.
Yeah. He is the God King. He is wise and beneficent, but Sigmar is nothing if not straightforward.
But he threw his hammer at a shadow and lost it for 1,000 years.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's kind of it's back now. He got it back. Sometimes we make poor decisions. It's all right.
I haven't killed a single thing this whole session.
Mm-hmm.
That's character growth.
Makes you feel
right there.
better. Neither have I.
Oh, there you go. You kept me. I mean, I almost killed myself. I was like, whew, I don't know what healing's like in this game. And you're like, oh, I'm healed to full. Okay.
It's good if you have a holy healer. I mean, that's what I'll say. Like priestly healers are potent in what they can accomplish. I'll give you that much. There's a couple different methods of healing. You could drink your money, by the way, to heal yourself. Just so you know.
Oh, yeah. No,
Keep that in mind, just in case it ever comes to it where you need to heal and I'm not around. Don't forget you can drink your money, because your money is also a healing potion. Just important to remember.
I'm gonna put a note next to that because I actually forgot.
There's a couple different obviously methods of healing, but there they are. That's what I was looking for. Remember which one does it? There you go. Yeah, like the Jade Wizard has a single target heal that can get that's kind of on the same difficulty as my heal. But it's only one person, and it's very hard for them to just like boost it like I can. Because if I even get one success, I can auto heal 4, and that's to everybody, just like everybody in the zone. So
Is that zone wide?
that's zone wide, yeah. Which you would all know. So if you get too injured, don't run too far away, because then I won't. Like then I've got to chase you down, and then you're taking healing from other people, right? So just like be defensive and stay together.
Say how much you can consume, like in a round.
What's that?
I'm trying to see how many you can actually consume. Like how much can I heal?
Oh, what's the max? Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Oh,
And
worry
we
about
have
that
one soul fire point per like combat, basically.
You're saying if we wanted to? Sure, we could pull. Yes, we could pull a soul fire we could pull a soul fire per day, if we wanted to.
Per day.
Because he can give us 1 back per day. Yes, we are currently at 4 soul fire. By the way, one of the things we need to establish on this party sheet is
what
what's that?
use of that is.
Sure. I mean, there's lots of different things. One of the nice advantages to the party sheet is it does give you all the uses right there. So, like, you can maximize successes, reroll as many dice as you like, regain all spent metal, recover all your toughness, or cheat death. You are no longer mortally wounded. So, like, that's the other option. Witch Elf, if you get in a point where you're almost dead, like, it's okay. Pull a soul fire and recover all your toughness. Like, if there's no way I can heal you. Yeah.
Gotcha. Good to know.
Real quick, Spigot here in chat while we're waiting for, looks like Kalia to come back, or Heywo. I think currency systems in RPG design are a touch antiquated or outdated in terms of how they're implemented, because currency just has such a ceiling to its usefulness in games, and much like XP, you know, like a lot of people moved over to like the milestone style. Like for the most part, loot's kind of on that same axiom anyway. I still love random loot, by the way. I love people to surprise me with like the feather token, like the Qualis feather token of like Anchor, and just like do something interesting with it.
Sure.
But,
so you'd be arguing for like a wealth level system, like what used to like got tossed out there before.
Wealth systems are interesting, or alternate resources. What won me over with this system is that it is healing. They're just doing what you do with it. They're cutting out a middleman of like how often I buy potions and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I'll say. One of the reasons I always hate wealth systems and love just traditional old gold pieces, or in this case, Aqua Gyranus, or whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Is because getting a big pile of money is cool.
It's the same reason I still hesitate to. So like my trick for like reconciling milestones with XP is I just don't tell you I've been giving you milestones. I just give because giving people XP seems awesome. You're just like, I did the extra thing and I got extra XP. You want that,
absolutely.
like, you want that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I
get that.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think it breaks down a little bit more when you get into modern systems, though. You know, once you
Sure.
go modern,
when you have like real currency and investments and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's just a question of like making sure that there's always enough stuff that people want to be spending their money on, buying castles and armies and everything else. And like, I will say, since we might be starting as like a 5th or 6th level D&D party in power, but we're a 1st level party in wealth. So, you know, that being said, the fact that I could walk through the average town, just like curing every disease and healing every wound, you know, just like that.
Tom made me actually reassess the setting with something he said on your last Warhammer Weekly. And I'm struggling to get the correct wording, so it's like going to be a paraphrase here. I'm sorry, Tom, you're sitting here. But he was talking about like people just like essentially like or maybe it was you guys had this conversation about how like you're like not just normal plebes when you're in Soulbound. Like people are just going to give you stuff.
Sure.
And like that made me kind of reassess some things like the relevance of like currency and
sure.
Like so I've kind of like removed the need for currency from like mundane things. Sure. You can see even between last adventure and this one where it's like why. So anyway,
welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
All right, so we're standing on the island and waiting for them to land.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean you have I assume you just kind of had a conversation amongst yourselves while I was gone.
Yes.
No, I immediately left and then came back. Even though I probably shouldn't have. What was discussed?
Just that I'm going to talk to them rather directly when they land.
All right, do it.
I just want to say,
That's it.
I thought it was genius putting cultists on the boat with you when I came up with this. I was just like
the old bait and switch.
I was just snickering the whole time, like where you'd have the scene where you like look at them, and I'm surprised you like club them and like take their robes and stuff, because I really thought that was where this was going.
Nope.
Look, I'm not going to lie, that might still be where this is going, but it's going to be hard for certain members of the party.
Yeah, we're not an infiltration party.
We're not like the where it is, and then it's like, oh no, I'm going to escape him.
But
and it's like, oh yeah, I'm here. I just heard like the word about the sun.
That would have been
tough.
that would have been fantastic hijinks. That's all I'm like. My brain was just like, you know, like I give you like an extra, like, well, if there's like 3 extra, can we like make a robe that's ogre sized?
Right.
No. All right. Okay. So they end up landing, and they're. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tom.
I say he's not going to pretend a Muppet Man and actually be an ogre underneath that robe.
Oh yeah, it's the reverse Muppet Man. The reverse Muppet Man.
The reverse Muppet Man. Make it happen one time this campaign, please.
Sure.
All right. They land on the beach. They're roll awarenesses when they're out when they're kind of out at sea yet.
4 to 5. So theoretically 2 successes, depending on how hard it is.
5 and a 1.
1 success.
1 success. 6.
All right. Like I said, unless I otherwise state it, the DN is assumed to be 4. Just real quick, like. So you all notice them having a conversation. They clearly notice you waiting there since you didn't like hide in the trees or anything like that. And then they start having a conversation on easiness. Skig, who had like a bonus success in there, you notice that the more like vocal elf seems a little heated in this whole exchange. Okay. And then they land and just like, oh, fellow adventurers, and they says the human who's kind of been like the face guy the whole time.
Hello. Welcome. So do you have a place you're supposed to go here?
I mean, there is a small settlement around the mountain's base, he says, like gesturing towards it.
Well, great. We'll just follow you then. That'll be much easier. So lead on.
The whole party's just like gesturing. Oh yeah, lead on.
Yeah.
You can't stop.
We just stand there staring at him.
You're not moving yet. Get going.
Very good that time, by the way. The elf, like the elf who's been the more vocal one, just kind of like looks at them all again. You know, just like in kind, and just like sort of like hotly steps off and like kind of like begins walking forward, and then the human who's kind of been the face guy like shrugs and like everyone follows with, and they head into the woods.
I say as they walk away, when they're still within earshot, I go, "You're not a Hydra. It's okay."
Oh, I'm following like really close. Right?
Yeah, we walk behind them.
Walking with them, and I like strike up a conversation as we go. I think it's so hilarious that we came to this island to root out cultist activity, and they're going to it. And one of these conversations, I'm just going to tell them that just to see what their reaction is. But
and I need to rephrase. It is a jungle, not a forest. It's a light distinction, but it's an important one.
Yeah. I assume are there actually paths to the jungle, or are we just like literally hacking our way through?
Where you land, there isn't initially. You hack for a spell, and then you end up on a path because, again, there is a settlement here of some sort. Not specific as to what. And the group of I don't want to call them cultists. The acolytes don't seem to even like have specifics on what it is. They just they have an idea, and once again, that's sort of like that nouveau thing going on where they just don't quite. This is their first mission.
Yeah,
it becomes.
I was about to say, like, I strike up a conversation as we're walking. So, is this your first mission?
Mission? Asks the diplomacy human, the face guy human.
Yeah.
Mission is like says one of the other humans. Mission, like we're missionaries. Hey. No, this is. It's the first time we've been summoned. Says like the third human, kind of out of turn.
No, the play on words was on purpose.
I've never met an ogre before. Says says like the second human, and then the dwarf's like, lucky.
So you got
They
some.
like to eat.
Is there a big gathering? Are a lot of you getting together into one small, tight, confined area?
Certainly hope not. Says like face guy. His name is Guy now.
Sure.
Does this jungle look familiar?
No. No, I like where you're going, but no. There's no like the generalness of it. Yeah, but that's just because like this particular section of Akshi has like a lot of jungles off the coast and stuff. Like that's where Anvil Guard is set. It's got like Anvil Guard and then just like crazy rampant jungles that are constantly trying to overgrow Anvil Guard itself. So the alchemists have to like come out and like throw potions around and stuff. Which is why the mist is always there.
No, don't interact with them if they like. I have nothing else to say. If they're talky, I'll talk to them. Otherwise, we just follow along, basically in lockstep.
So why are you
Actually, I'd like to strike a conversation with a hot-headed elf.
okay? Yeah, he's like a. It's not a zone ahead because it's not that extreme, but like if you're in like direct melee range with the party, he is certainly out of melee range. Like he is, like he is like a couple more than a couple steps ahead. He's
In my
kind
base.
of yeah. Yeah, at some point you have to like kind of jog to catch up with him. What do you want?
Hey, I'm just curious what you're doing here. What brought you into this fancy temple cult of yours, whatever you might call it?
What brought you to the island and your fancy cult?
I see you noticed that I'm a member of the Terathian cult. I'm here with my friends. We're here to investigate well, you, I suppose. Maybe investigate's the wrong word. Just check out. See what's
Perhaps
going on.
perhaps friend is the wrong word. You're really here with your friends?
Yes.
Like the 11th Dawn doesn't openly or the 11th Dawn doesn't refer to itself brazenly as a cult the way the Tarathians do. Odd to me, don't you think?
Shut your pretty little mouth here. I don't want to talk religion. I just want to know what you're doing here. If you want to talk religion, well, mine usually involve daggers and blood, and you might not like that. What are you doing here? I'm Lanissa. What's your name? Let's. This is the olive branch you're gonna get.
Yeah, we're friends now.
My name is
We're
Talus.
friends now.
My name is Talus, he says. He says, and as you heard from Guy, we've been recently summoned. Uh, are we, yeah, his name's Guy. It's like we did particularly, we got the word out quite well, and we're told that there is we were needed here. I don't know how, when your faith calls, you, being a woman of faith, should understand, certainly. If
I do, but my faith doesn't set me out in the middle of a jungle without any sort of protection other than 4 random strangers who could handle a Hydra.
you assume that we couldn't.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like-
just yeah.
Well, if danger happens, then I welcome you to prove me wrong. But as it stands right now, you look like an easy target. If some beastie wanted to jump out here and take a swipe.
He like stops and like in his tracks, and like the rest of the party still got like a little bit of a lag time to catch up, and he's like, "Is that a threat?"
Do I look like a beastie?
Hard to tell.
Well, then it's hard to tell if that's a threat or not. I say as I slowly kind of just dance back to the rest of the group.
He wheels on his heel, and like almost like walks into like some vines and stuff, but like catches them just in time, and his like elfinly grace saves it, and he continues to walk. I
Yeah. You actually dancing back, like so pleased with
Just
yourself.
like
I said it kind of like tauntingly. I could do my entertain check if you'd like.
yeah, please. Let's see how smug you are.
2 out of 4 success.
Okay, you are 50% smug.
Okay, it's fine.
Um. Is that a veiled promise?
Yeah. Not a threat. It's
Well
an
done.
insult. It's different.
Well done, Spigot. Brilliant.
Yeah, elves.
So the party progresses through the jungle. Like you said, there's a bit of a path, and you come out. You kind of emerge at some point where you have essentially like this quarry town. You're up above it, staring down into this sort of like this scar carved into the land at the base of this weird sort of hooked mountain. Um, there are essentially like terraces and levels of like little like stone and wood buildings at various like levels with like pulleys and bridges leading down and about. You have entire walkways that crisscross about the whole quarry where people have actually gathered to like talk and point, and you can see an odd sort of life to it in strange contrast to the jungle. Like you're kind of reflecting now that like you weren't seeing like a bunch of like bees and bugs and snakes and stuff as you were traveling through the jungle. It was just like actual plant life, and then suddenly, you know, sentient, mobile life. It's just a weird contrast. Worth noting, but you're not quite certain the significance. And the vast majority of folks are wearing these robes.
Are we talking? What's the scale we're talking about here? Walking around in this sort of mining town.
Probably about like it's. I mean, the population here is probably about like 200 folks. Like, I mean, it's a good sized village, right? Like,
Okay.
And it's got like it's built pretty congested in terms of the buildings, like a lot of like hunched together, but there's a good span for the quarry itself. So there's a lot of like open space between like the jungle and like the village proper. And there's like a dabbling of like bigger buildings kind of like near the outside where they certainly would have started. So the grandest buildings are closer to you, with like the most clustered active buildings closer to the mountain itself.
Gotcha.
And there is a literal temple, sort of like prostrate and forward, carved from the island itself and then built upon, just sort of like protruding up, basically back to the ground level of you, but like that makes it several stories tall.
Gotcha.
In the scope of the town.
Do they just walk down in? Because I assume we're just going to follow them.
Yeah,
So
so you essentially have like
yeah.
you essentially have like these pitched ramps that go down wide enough for carts to come back up and that sort of thing.
Yeah, follow them down in. Take a look around the town.
I need to strongly stress that, yeah, you get reactions because you have like ogres and Skaven in your party of heroes, but you have a reputation as being a party of heroes. You're the party of heroes with an ogre and a Skaven in it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everybody stops and looks here that you are here.
Hey.
Good.
Well, also, like, so we're the party with the ogre and the Skaven in it, but to these people, we might just be the party with the ogre and the Skaven in it that killed a whole bunch of cultists like 5 days ago.
If word travels that fast.
Yeah, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know about magic or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they have no idea, like, how to like there's like almost like a shell shock type vibe as you come into like sight of the various denizens of this town, and you're just walking with this party of like 6 in front of you, the tension was palpable. You half expected them to like try to just attack you in the jungle or something like, and they just, like you said, you killed a Hydra. They never had the or you befriended a Hydra, which is probably a little bit cooler than killing one. um, they just, you're just in this village of mostly cultists, and then like various people just like trying to do the odd job, and you're clearly not here for the odd job, and you're clearly not cultists. Acolytes.
I mean,
of the 11th Dawn. Sorry, not cultists.
no, it's fine. Any of these, like, we're onto them now. We know what this is on about, but also they're trying to like not look like an evil cult. So in my mind, that's working against them. So Skig has a real simple plan here. He's just going to walk in and see how much of this they're going to show him before they reveal their evil plan, and then reveal themselves as heretics. And then we get to the God King's wrath as we burn away the fire of weakness and chaos. So.
And their masters are probably going to be pretty pissed when we show up and they're like, "How did these people get here? Oh, these people just led us there. We didn't even threaten them. They just
yeah, we just walked. We walked with them. We came with them.
Yeah.
But at any rate, like when people stop and stare at us, I'm gonna wave and smile, and yet again at all of them, I'll hold up the amulet of or my holy symbol of Sigmar. I'll give them the twin-tailed comet symbol constantly.
You got like gang signs for Sigmar. Wu-Tang, like Sigmar. It's a small mining community. They've got they've got a watering hole, they've got all the basic comforts and stuff like that. They're not really like honoring currency because it's their weird faith, just like giving the goods and passing the goods and services out. So as you I've got to imagine it's like the uncanny valley for the party a little bit. Where like it's just this like you see people toiling for no other reason that they were proven worthy enough to come here and toil.
No, that's like a Beast Claw tribe.
Yeah, nope, none of this is unusual to me. This is all actually exactly standard.
Yeah, I mean they're not stabbing each other in the back, which is probably a little off-putting for Skig, but aside from that, like
right. Like this is literally normal life.
Human like Anvilgard itself was the uncanny valley for you. This is like, oh,
right, yeah.
Finally normalcy.
Yeah, this makes more sense. Okay, right. Okay. I can clearly see the stratification of hierarchy here. I understand now.
Right. Furgrim, you haven't said anything for a bit. What's your take on the land? What's your general demeanor? What's going on with you?
Just watching.
Just watching.
Just taking it all in.
Lanessa, you're fairly certain you could make it all the way to that big fountain there, killing people before they stop you. And you're just like, you haven't murdered in a while.
The feeling's rough, but I'm impressed by the fact that this entire settlement, that it looks like there's no true poverty, that everybody looks like they're being fed and taken care of, which is kind of nice to see in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Odd, but it's nice.
Yeah.
But I am also actively waiting for someone to slip up so I can stab them. It's been a while.
Look, befriending a Hydra, the high of befriending a Hydra can only hold you so long until you just gotta go old-fashioned murder.
Yeah.
Where do these 6 guys we were following go?
Yeah, still following them.
Yeah, we still walk with them wherever until they get to a destination.
All right, yeah. So they head to the temple. This prostrate forward temple that like it has built itself back up to like essentially quote unquote ground level, so several stories high. They go down the ramps, they wind towards it, and they head toward the temple. The temple itself is actually like this is a great marvel of like archaeology. In that, like, it seems to be like a singular structure. It's not until you get up to it that you realize like there's like other like inlaid bricks and stuff like that. And anyone with any magical or divine inclination can tell that magics were used to like sculpt and bring up the stone and stuff like that until they just built it up high enough.
Cool.
So it's pretty metal. It's open at the first level, so it's a bunch of columns leading into this sort of like, I don't want to use the word crucible because that's really on the nose, but it's like a crucible where like it filters into this like sort of there's just all pillars and columns at the base level built out wide and these like weird configurations, and then you can walk into it and it's open air, and that makes it duly impressive. Because then everything else, like as you build up, gets like a little bit more enclosed and stuff, and it begins to have this almost like a hive-like quality to it. And you head into this like sort of like the biggest open base chamber where these six head in, and there's actually like a fountain. Centered but off-centered a little bit, set beyond, and you see sort of people doing like just idly standing by in various like poses of like either meditation or prayer. Really like that Unitarian vibe starts to like come back a little bit, where people are kind of worshiping in their own way, but really like under this like central thought. And they sort of like just like walk around, and they seem confused too as to where they're supposed to go. They know they're supposed to come here though, and they're looking for somebody. And then eventually you see one of these individuals. You recognize their garb as being the more gossamer style robe, like the silk, the made from like the finer fabrics with a medallion rather than a stitched on vest. And unlike the one you met back in town, this one's actually wearing like a mantle, a small cowl, like in addition to the basic thing with some additional like. This would be the first time I'll use the off gold terminology on the shawl, like a little bit duller. And they see this individual clearly a rank above anybody else, and they kind of rush over. And do you just like lockstep right up behind, or what?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We have to just right behind him.
I shout out as they approach him and say, "Oh, Talus, you going to introduce us to your friend?"
Talus, he says, rolling his eyes angrily. Brother Morque. And they just like kind of like they have no idea. It's okay. Go. Cleanse yourselves. And he gestures towards the fountain.
Watch out for beasties, Talus.
Hey, thanks for leading us here. We appreciate it.
Yes, you've been a big help.
He looks back at them like you can imagine the thought bubble of like the angry face at them, like, oh, thanks for helping and leading us here. How can the 11th dawn serve thee?
I'll step forward.
Your name is Brother Morque?
He nods. Indeed.
Hello, sir.
We would like to understand where you're producing the strange purple liquid that makes people ascend. Or where you're keeping the stores of that.
Ascension is difficult to describe to the unenlightened.
I'm not looking for... Go ahead.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I was going to cut him off. You can cut him off.
Sure. I'm not looking for an explanation of how.
That doesn't concern us. We're simply here for the juice. Perhaps you could help me by telling me, brother, what is it that weighs on your soul?
And I will grip
No!
I will grip my holy symbol and employ him to unburden himself of the sins in which he carries.
Oh my!
Never let him get close.
All right.
Yeah, we're here for the juice.
So he has a chance to make an opposed soul determination.
Yeah.
So against my soul devotion.
Are you saying that religion is
Right.
deterministic?
I guess.
Hey,
I would like
Vince.
to use a soul fire to smoke this guy into the ground.
So
That's what I was gonna say.
I want you to know, I was about to roll like 10 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do it.
All right.
Do it.
I use the soul fire.
Okay. All right.
You guys are going to need
How
a
many
one
dice?
meal after this.
I hate you all so much.
How many dice do you get for this, Vince?
4 dice.
Okay,
So it's four sixes. Yep.
Oh, it's a push. You're just like unburdening. Like you feel his resistance.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But I will allow the party to participate.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, let's go.
So you can add your souls in.
Determination.
Yeah, your soul's
Just soul or
determination.
determination?
Your soul determination. Go ahead.
Yeah, for them it'd be if they're trekking on mine, it'd be soul devotion. I don't know. If it'd be much different.
Yeah, soul devotion works. Yeah.
Okay.
Our check is soul devotion.
Yep.
Good thing I'm devoted.
What numbers are we looking for?
Still 4s. It's opposed.
Yeah,
too,
it's a
so
4. Yeah, it's just a standard approach check. Yeah.
You get one for me.
And just to be clear, you said determination for us, right?
It's
Devotion for
devotion
us.
still. It's devotion still.
Devotion. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm way worse at that.
You could have 4 for me.
So like you feel his will resisting and pushing you back as he needs to unburden himself, and then like the dwarf and the ogre step back and they're like no, really,
Just let it go.
just let it go.
Just let it go.
But then this fucking crazed witch elf, like with
Hey,
these
she's reloaded.
Back my head.
these bloodshot eyes because she hasn't murdered in a while, like comes like sashaying up and just like puts the hand on the shoulder, and he like drops down before the party.
Speak to us. Tell us. What are you doing here?
I am to deprogram the vessels, he says.
Okay. How many did we actually beat him by the way?
2.
I got 1 success.
Or sorry, not 2. With the 4 from you, he had 6 successes. You had 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 or 5. So, okay. So we had a total of 8. So we had a total of 10. Is that right?
Yeah, so you beat him by 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have 4 questions he must answer truthfully.
Skig alone was not enough to overpower him. That needs
Sure.
to be known.
He has quite a bit of determination. That's impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
He's clearly a powerful cult leader. Okay.
I
Where
like
is...
lean forward. You speak up when you're answering us, but I can't quite hear you.
Yes. He said to
Fill
deprogram
the
the
chamber with your voice.
Yeah, so he's four questions. Deprogram.
vessels. Okay.
Where do you keep all of the ascension juice, the purple juice?
There's not a particular storehouse for it here. We merely gather a component aided by... I don't quite agree with him. The methods. But it is... This is where we extract a necessary component, and we store that, I suppose, if that's what you're looking for. There is a bunker within the town. You will find another statue of worship below there.
Excellent.
Though it's not the finished product you seek.
Pause. Out of character.
Mhm.
I'm gonna hit the double dragon 3 pause. That's how we pause and go OC.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I assume we want to know what the heck deprogram the vessels actually means, right? Like that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I think so. If we got 4 questions, a good second one.
So, another piece is like, who is he serving?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
who,
right.
who's his
Yeah,
boss?
ultimately, who are they actually serving? Like, what is the real...
And or what deity are they serving?
Sure.
what are the names of because ultimately the question is, can we get behind whatever the true
Yep.
figure of power is?
Okay. Okay, back to it. So
Bonus XP for the double dragon. Thank you. We were on the same page with that.
there you go.
What does deprogram the vessels mean?
To come here, you must have reached a certain level of ascension, of understanding and commitment to the 11th Dawn. Most of our acolytes aren't privy to the next step. Those that are open to it are sent here. Once here, they still have their apprehensions. We remove them.
Who is in charge in this camp? Who do you work for?
Nihilus, Seven Soul.
Hey, it's that guy from your dream.
Ah, so it was a vision.
Nihilus is in charge. Nihilus is in charge of all the 11th Dawn, though not many know him by his name.
Thank you.
Merely
Okay,
his...
so that thus endeth the
Yeah.
questions. So he now feels
He
better
has
for
a
having.
big hammer.
I'm sorry, what was that?
He has 2 big hammers.
No.
So as the sort of force of the miracle ends, he feels better for having spoken truly and is more amiable toward us. So
I love that last little part, the twist of the knife, and then he's very pleased with what just happened.
yes,
Super happy.
This is not the demeanor you're reading right now is not the demeanor of somebody who is pleased with anything. He is
Sure.
slunken in on himself, and there is no absolution of the
Probably
truth.
afraid.
This person has spoken.
sure. I put my paw on his shoulder, okay, and I say,
You have a strong will. It is one of the strongest I have ever seen or encountered. Clearly, your soul burns bright. I feel that it is a shame that you waste it in toiling here. That you spend so much effort, energy, so much of your life in service of someone and something that will ultimately consume you. When instead,
and I bring forth the holy symbol into my other hand. I like put it near him, and I'm like,
you could see the power of the one true God King, he who saves all life within the mortal realms. Think deeply upon this. I know you have gone far down this road, but it is never too late to turn back.
He doesn't.
I'd actually like to step in and be like, counterpoint. Cain is also a great god. Look at him as well.
Cain is also a great god.
He doesn't look at your holy symbol. He's like, Sigmar left us.
Cain didn't.
And
like
yet,
Skig looks around for that. Like he looks around for where, and he says,
No, he is here.
right here. I point back at the holy symbol.
He has always been here.
I'm not even certain Sigmar lives. And he's just like,
You have fallen far from the faith of the God King. I understand. It can seem dark, but there is always a pinprick of light. And that light is always the God King watching you and watching over you.
watching and doing nothing, and he like throws your hand from his shoulder.
I kneel down to his level, like I kind of hunch like a rat, so I can like look him in his fallen eyes, and I say, I lean in like super close, like I get my snout up right in its face, right?
Yeah.
whisper.
And I say,
He has sent you me.
How can a rat see Sigmar's light? And he just like looks up with like tears welling in his eyes.
mm-hmm. I put my paw back. I hold my hand out to him, not in any kind of aggressive way, like upturned like this, right? And I say,
Exactly.
And I'm like, I'm this far from his face right now. Okay.
Yeah,
like,
just
my
like
nose is
full
right
on,
here.
just like rubbing on his like cheek, and
Yeah.
he can feel you breathing.
I say,
Exactly. If one such as I can be saved, if even the God King can reach out to me, then he can find you. That is why he has sent me here. For your salvation. And the salvation of those who follow this road.
This is the first time he's made eye contact with you, even including like the, absolution spell and stuff. He's like, he can't stop this.
We can.
and but like the we is clearly meant not for just the four of us. It's meant for like we. My hand is still out to him.
We can.
I think you need to roll a. I think you need to roll a devotion here.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so am I going for fours? Or what do you want?
I'm gonna go fives here.
Okay. 3 successes.
He grasps your hand.
Mm-hmm.
How? And he's still like looking you in the eye.
Mm-hmm. I stay there with him. So he grasps my hand, I put the holy symbol over top of it, so we have like this kind of a situation.
Right on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I say,
there are many here who do not know ultimately what fate awaits them. But you do. You know much of the working of this place. You know much of the working of Nihilus. Help us by first making sure that your people, the people who I know you care deeply for, are safe. Help us find this Nihilus. We will defeat him. And we will end this and return you all into the God King's light.
Nihilus leads all, but Nihilus is not here. He says.
That is fine.
He's
That's
like,
good.
I have an idea, but you must protect them. And he like looks back to like the whole party at this point.
We will protect all those who walk in faith.
Except that one rude guy.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
That
Fuck
was a joke.
Talus. He's like,
Gotta kill somebody here soon.
he's like, I can ring. I find it ironic, but I can ring the bell and they'll come. He says. But when they find out it's in folly, you'll have to deal with. You'll have to deal with him.
We will deal with them. You worry about keeping your people safe. You let us worry about him and his tentacles.
you described the tentacles, right? Or something like that. You said something about that, right?
Yeah,
I'm
he's got these.
I remember you describing it, Meph. I'm double checking if Feargrim said that, so I'm not speaking out of character. Okay, I'm going to assume Feargrim said that. So yes, I go with that thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I described the tech whatever.
Cool.
Like the slaves and the face and the mask.
Yeah, and the weird straight jackets and like the wires and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, the gimps.
He's like, the bell will summon the warden. He says.
Summon. And we shall show them the power of the God King to protect and to punish.
All right. He begins like rushing up the stairs, his robes billowing behind him, and we'll call it there because
Sounds good.
we can't quite get into the warden